Let me tell you about the wildest birthday ever mine. Picture this. I'm chilling in total darkness, squished inside what I can only describe as the world's most cramped studio apartment. No windows, no door, no Wi-Fi. Just me, myself, and a whole lot of, where the heck am I? Energy. My eyes are glowing gold, by the way, because apparently that's just how I roll. Then BM. A flood of memories crashes into my brain like someone dumped an entire encyclopedia into a blender and hit puree. I'm seeing weird stuff. Moving things. Tall boxy things. Things with four legs. My brain is basically running a Q&A session with itself. What are those wiggly creatures? Humans. And the four-legged ones? Dogs. The big metal boxes that zoom around. Cars. The big boxes that don't zoom around. Buildings. Cool, cool, cool. Totally normal Tuesday inside an egg. Oh yeah, I'm in an EGG. Forgot to mention that part. Then a voice pops up. Claims to be my dad. Can't see him anywhere, which honestly tracks for a lot of dads. He tells me the world I just downloaded into my brain. That was his old world. My world is something completely different, and I got a crack out of this shell to see it for myself. He drops some real profound stuff on me too. Tells me we're star dragons. We come from the stars. The stars are freedom. And freedom is basically our whole personality. He gives me my full name, Farber Veit, and hits me with the most dramatic exit line ever. I'll be waiting for you in the stars. Absolute legend. Never even met the guy, and he's already giving me daddy issues and life goals. My little golden eyes are practically sparkling with dreams of starlight and adventure when I hear it. A tiny crack. Something's happening outside. Next thing I know, I'm watching the chaos unfold. There's this enormous mama dragon outside. We're talking hundreds of meters tall, dark red scales, claws like steak knives, breath so hot it literally bends the air around her face. She looks absolutely terrifying, like a nightmare drew a self-portrait. But her voice? Weirdly lovely. And the way she's staring at our eggs? Pure mom energy. The scariest, most adorable contradiction in existence. She picks out 5 eggs, including mine, and lies down to watch, tail wagging like the world's most dangerous golden retriever. One by one, my siblings start popping out. First up is this golden idiot named O, who immediately starts eating his own shell. Just munching away, zero shame. Then there's Billy, a little dude covered in red crystals, who spots O's leftover eggshell and thinks, free snack. Mama Dragon hits him with a gust of wind that sends him tumbling and yells, and oh, Billy, that's not yours. Like she's scolding a toddler reaching for someone else's chicken nugget. Billy backs off. Smart move. According to the inherited memories rattling around in all our baby dragon brains, golden dragons are basically jocks. All muscle, no brain cells. You don't steal a jock's lunch. Billy looks around at the rest of us, 2 other hatchlings doing their own thing, and then stares at my egg. My beautiful, shiny, silver egg. He's hoping I'm the same species as him. I am not. My shell cracks open. I step out into the light. I glance at all of them staring at me with those big, hopeful eyes, and what do? I ignore every single one of them and start eating my breakfast. Priorities, people. Priorities. Then Mama Dragon, Wintersea, that's her name, looks at me, and her whole warm, loving expression just drops. One word falls out of her mouth like a stone. Dragon Beast. And that, apparently, is how my life begins. Covered in silver scales, surrounded by siblings I didn't ask for, labeled something ominous before I even finished my first meal. Welcome to the world, Veit. It's going to be a weird one. Right, so where were we? Oh yeah, Mama Dragon just called me a dragon beast, and everyone got real quiet. Like, funeral quiet. My 4 brand new siblings were looking at me the way you'd look at someone who just got called to the principal's office. On the first day of school. Before class even started. Now, I had zero clue what a dragon beast meant. My inherited memory bank was basically my dad's old world. Cars, dogs, buildings, humans. None of that included a dragon dictionary. Very helpful, Dad. Really set me up for success there. I finished eating my eggshell, though. Priorities haven't changed. That thing protected me for who knows how long, and honestly, it was delicious. Crunchy on the outside, gooey on the inside. 5 stars. After licking the last bit of egg goo off my mouth, I looked up at the mountain-sized dragon lady and asked a perfectly reasonable question. What's a dragon beast? She froze. Her giant golden eyes went wide like I'd just told her the sky was green. By the creator dragon. You can talk. Yeah? Why is that shocking? You're literally talking right now. We're having a conversation. What did she expect me to do? Bark? Before I could get my answer, this enormous claw came swooping down at me. My survival instincts kicked in hard. I bolted, little legs pumping, tail flying behind me, running for my life like a silver bullet with anxiety. Here's the problem, though. My legs are barely a meter long, and she's hundreds of meters tall. I could have had a 99-meter head start, and she still wouldn't need to move a single foot to grab me. It's like a human catching a runaway grape. She caught me, obviously. But did I give up? Absolutely not. I am a star dragon, born free, untamable. I opened my jaws and bit down on her scales as hard as I could. OWWWW. That was me screaming, not her. Her scales were basically made of, go ahead and try, idiot. I rolled around in her palm, clutching my mouth, while she stared down at me with this look that clearly said, "Is this baby dragon broken?" Fair question, honestly. Even while rolling around in pain, I made sure to keep my eyes fierce and defiant. Star dragons don't submit. We fight. We resist. We also tremble uncontrollably. But that's just the cold. Definitely the cold. Not fear. My tail was not shaking, and if it was, that was a medical condition. Little one, tell me your name, she boomed. Her voice hit me like standing next to a jet engine. Every bone in my tiny body vibrated, but I held my ground. Metaphorically, I was still in her fist. Shouldn't you introduce yourself first? That's basic manners. Nailed it. Totally intimidating. Very cool. Would have been even cooler if my voice wasn't shaking like a leaf in a hurricane. But hey, fake it till you make it. She actually laughed. Or whatever the dragon version of laughing is. Then she put me down, gently, like setting down a teacup, and said, "Call me MS. Wintersea. Now go meet your brothers and sisters." The 4 little dragons came scurrying over like excited puppies. I hit them with my best warning roar. They froze mid-step. "Call me Veet," I told Wintersea. "And those are not my siblings. We don't even look alike," she frowned. But instead of yelling, she asked me why. "Are you serious right now? Look at us. That one's gold. That one's covered in red crystals. I'm silver. We look nothing alike. You're telling me we're family?" What kind of mixed-up egg basket was this? That's when she hit me with a new term, bloodline inheritance. Apparently, every dragon is supposed to be born with a built-in knowledge package from their parents, a cheat sheet about the world, their species, dragon society, the whole deal. Mine? My dad gave me memories of cars and dogs and apartment buildings. Thanks, Dad. Really useful stuff for a dragon world. I'll just flag down a taxi next time a monster attacks me. Wintersea asked me what species I was. My chest puffed up. My chin rose high. This was my moment. "I am a star dragon." Dead silence. Wintersea stared at me like I'd just announced I was a sandwich. "There's no such thing as a star dragon." "Excuse me? You're a silver dragon." My whole world crumbled. My dad. The voice in the egg. The guy who gave me my name. Who told me we come from the stars. Who said he'd be waiting for me in the sky. Basically made up my entire species. But my father told me. He said we come from the stars. He said we're star dragons. How can I be a silver dragon?" Wintersea sighed. She pointed at O, the golden meathead who was still probably thinking about eating more eggshell. "He's a gold dragon. Gold and silver dragons are in the same family, metallic dragons, under the greater dragon species." I looked at O. I looked at myself. Gold. Silver. Same body type. Same build. My dad basically told me I was a unicorn when I was actually just a horse with a pointy hat. Wintersea was clearly holding back some very strong opinions about my parents. I could see it in her eyes, that specific look adults get when they want to say, "Your parents are absolute clowns," but they're trying to be professional about it. You know what hurts the most? He didn't even pick a real fake species. Star dragon. It sounds amazing, sure, but it's like naming your kid President of the Universe. Cool title, zero backing. Still, somewhere deep in my chest, a tiny spark refused to die. Star dragon or silver dragon, my dad said he'd be waiting in the stars. And I'm going to find him. Right after I figure out why biting dragon scales is a terrible idea. My jaw still hurts. All right, let me paint you a picture of my emotional state at this point. Absolutely wrecked. I looked at O. Gold scales, spiral horns pointing up, about a meter long without the tail, wingspan around 1.3 meters. Shiny, muscular, built like a tiny golden tank with wings. Then I looked at myself. Silver scales, spiral horns curving backward, roughly the same size, but a bit slimmer, wingspan about 1.6 meters. Sleeker tail, more aerodynamic, if you will. And you know what? Using the measurement system my dad left in my brain, the one humans apparently invented, we were basically identical. Like someone took a gold dragon, hit, copy-paste, and changed the color filter to silver. If I were in one of those, spot the difference, puzzles from Dad's memory world, people would give up after 10 seconds. Am I really a silver dragon? Wintersea, bless her terrifying heart, tried to comfort me. That's just how it is. Oh great. Thanks. I feel so much better now. Truly healing words. Groundbreaking therapy. I retreated deeper into my shell of despair. Not my actual eggshell. I already ate that. My emotional shell. Then she made it worse. Your bloodline inheritance really does have problems. I stared at her. This giant, building-sized dragon lady just watched me have an identity crisis and thought the best follow-up was to trash-talk my dad's parting gift. Ms. Wintersea, if you don't know how to comfort someone, maybe just stop talking. Her eyes narrowed. Did you just insult me? I blinked innocently. Me? Insult you? Why would I ever do such a thing? For absolutely no reason at all, she squinted at me for a long, suspicious moment. I maintained perfect eye contact. Pure innocence. Baby dragon face activated. She eventually let it go, but I could tell she filed that one away for later. Well, she continued, your parents' inheritance is a mess, but at least they remembered to include dragon language. That's the bare minimum. If we couldn't communicate right now, I would have genuinely thought you were a dragon beast, and that is when she finally explained what a dragon beast actually is. Buckle up, because this lore dump was wild. Apparently, the entire dragon world was created when two cosmic forces collided, the creation dragon, Cow-Eye, and the destruction dragon, Ixis. They had a massive throwdown, and the shockwave of their battle literally made this world. Creation Dragon 1 chased Ixis off into space, but before leaving, dropped a single drop of blood. That one drop, the ancestor of all dragons. Every species, every type, all from one divine droplet. Pretty epic origin story, right? Here's the catch though. Since the world was made from both forces, every dragon carries a tiny piece of the destruction dragon's power hiding deep inside their blood. And this nasty little time bomb goes off at the most vulnerable moment of a dragon's life. Which is, you guessed it, right when they're born. If it wins, your mind gets destroyed. You lose all intelligence, all personality, everything that makes you you. What's left is just a creature running on pure animal instinct. No thoughts, no language, no soul. Just survival mode. I was about to call it a wild beast. That's the closest term from Dad's memory bank. But Wintersea corrected me. Dragon beast. Same thing, I said, and explained my version. A creature with no intelligence, stumbling through life on nothing but instinct. Wintersea's expression shifted. Even on a face that's permanently set to nightmare mode, I could tell she got serious. Veet, you need to forget the memories your father gave you. They're full of mistakes, especially about who you are. Remember this, you are a silver dragon. Greater dragon species, metallic dragon class, silver dragon tribe. Can you do that? I looked at her giant, earnest eyes. I looked at my 4 siblings watching from a distance. Something about the weight of her words made me nod. Yeah, okay. Silver dragon. I can work with that. She smiled. It was horrifying. Imagine a crocodile trying to look warm and fuzzy. That's what a happy Wintersea looks like. But then she softened up a bit. What I said earlier was wrong. Your father's memories are a gift. Don't throw them away. Just learn to tell the difference between memory and reality. And there's no star dragon species. But your father wasn't wrong about everything. We greater dragons are born free. That part is true. She told me about the Decidro Dragon Nest Library, where I could learn proper dragon knowledge. Real facts about the world, not my dad's bizarre collection of human trivia about parking lots and microwaves. A thought suddenly hit me. Ms. Wintersea, do you know every place in this world? She actually laughed, which sounded like a thunderstorm chuckling. Not even close, little one. This world is enormous. I once tried to travel to the edge of it, to see where everything ends. What happened? got my tail kicked by a black dragon, and crawled home like a beaten puppy. Told myself I'd get stronger and go back for revenge. Billy piped up from the peanut gallery. And did you? Wintersea glanced at us, then at the rows of unhatched eggs behind her. Never took another step outside. Because of you five. Because of them. We all turned and looked at the remaining eggs. Hundreds of them, sitting quietly on their stone pedestals. Wintersea gave up her dream of exploration, her revenge quest, her freedom, all to babysit eggs. Heavy stuff for a 10-minute-old dragon. Then she circled back to the dragon beast topic, and things got dark. Dragon beasts have no mind, only hunger. They'll eat anything to survive, including dragon eggs. No morals, no hesitation, just instinct. It's not evil, it's just nature at its most brutal. If you'd truly been a dragon beast, she said, looking straight at me, the best outcome would have been getting kicked out of the nest to live a mindless existence wandering the wilderness. And the worst? She grinned. All teeth, zero comfort. The worst? The second you step outside, you become a snack. Dragon beasts born from eggs carry the richest dragon blood, and other dragon beasts out there, they can smell it. To them, you'd be a walking 5-star meal. I sat there in silence for a moment. Born from a cosmic war, carrying destruction in my veins, nearly classified as a mindless monster, almost kicked out of the nest on my birthday, and my dad lied about my species. Happy hatch day to me. At least the eggshell was tasty. After Wintersea dropped that delightful little fact about dragon beasts being walking happy meals for other predators, every single one of us started shaking. Me? I was shaking the most. Not because I'm a coward. I'm a strategic trembler. There's a difference. My brain immediately kicked into overdrive. This world is insane. Back in Dad's memory world, the worst that could happen to a creature like me would be getting captured by scientists. They'd put me in some lab, poke me a few times, maybe run some tests. But they wouldn't eat me. They'd probably put me on a magazine cover and declare me a protected species. Maybe get my own documentary on Netflix. But here, step outside the nest, and something will literally have you for lunch. This isn't a world. It's an all-you-can-eat buffet, and I'm the main course. Then my brain did something beautiful, something magnificent, something profoundly, catastrophically stupid. It connected the dots. See, Dad's memories included these things called web novels, stories about fantasy worlds. And in those stories, there's always a pattern. There's always some big, evil mastermind hiding in the shadows, plotting world domination from behind the scenes. And they always have a base of operations filled with minions who don't realize they're pawns. I looked at Wintersea. Big, powerful, red scales, controls a nest full of baby dragons. Knows everything. Answers questions vaguely. Looks terrifying. Oh no. Oh no. She's a red dragon. According to the web novels, red dragons belong to the chromatic dragon family. Chaotic, evil, the whole villain starter pack. And here she is, taking care of eggs, nurturing baby dragons, being suspiciously nice to us. Sure, she seems friendly. But that's exactly what a secret evil overlord would do. Every warm word, every gentle tone. Clearly a cover for whatever diabolical scheme she's cooking up. She's probably raising us as weapons of mass destruction. Future soldiers for her army of darkness. I needed to escape. I looked down at my body. Less than 2 meters long, tail included. Then I looked at Wintersea. Hundreds of meters tall. Okay, escaping is off the table for now. New plan, play along. Pretend to be the perfect little obedient dragon. Smile, nod, do what she says. Meanwhile, secretly build my strength and wait for the right moment to break free. What's that phrase from Dad's memories? Lying on something, tasting something bitter, sleeping on sticks and licking gallbladders? Something about patience and revenge. Ugh, I really need to organize those memories later. They're a mess. I glanced at my 4 siblings with deep, heartfelt pity. Poor, innocent fools. They have no idea they're being groomed as instruments of world domination. Blissfully unaware little chess pieces on Wintersea's evil game board. Although, if one of them turns out to be cool, maybe I'll recruit them for my escape plan. Every hero needs a sidekick. Wintersea, completely oblivious to the fact that I'd just mentally written a 20,000-word escape novel in my head, smiled her terrifying smile and asked if anyone had questions. I raised my claw. Veet, you don't need to raise your claw. Just ask. What exactly is the Decidro dragon nest? I stared at her with my best curious baby dragon eyes. Go on, you magnificent villain. Spill your secrets. Tell me everything about your evil fortress. She looked impressed. Your learning ability is better than I expected. I only mentioned that name once, and you remembered it. As for Decidro, you're too young. Just know it's a great place. You'll understand why as you grow. Classic villain move. You'll understand when you're older. Translation, you'll understand once the brainwashing is complete. Every alarm bell in my head was ringing. This dragon was good. Professional-grade evil. Not even slipping up around newborns. Obviously, I kept all of this to myself. If I called her out, she'd probably swallow me whole. That's what happens to the mouthy minion in Chapter 3 of every web novel. I'm not dying in Chapter 3. I'm at least a Chapter 300 kind of protagonist. All right, little ones, Wintersea said, laying her massive claw flat on the ground like a fleshy elevator. If there are no more questions, climb on. Newborns need their own nesting spots. My 4 siblings cheered. They flapped their little wings and flew. Actually flew, right up onto her palm. Like it was nothing. Like flying was as natural as breathing. My turn. I spread my wings. Felt pretty heroic about it too. Took a running start. Flapped hard. Jumped and splat. Face first into the ground. Skidded forward. Crashed into a rock. The rock broke. My face broke a rock, and I still couldn't fly. I sat there in the rubble, touching my forehead, genuinely confused. The rock lost that fight, by the way. My skull is apparently made of whatever they build bank vaults out of. But my flying skills? Absolutely non-existent. Up on Wintersea's palm, for pairs of eyes stared down at me. For little smirks. For baby dragons who could fly on their first try, watching the one idiot who couldn't. Yeah, laugh it up, you future pawns of evil. We'll see who's laughing when I'm the one who escapes this place. Wintersea, to her credit, or maybe as part of her villain act, was actually encouraging. Take your time, Veet. Feel your own strength. You can do this. Her voice was gentle, dragon gentle, which is like being whispered at by a hurricane, but still. Nice effort. I took a deep breath, blocked out the smirking idiots above me, felt for the power inside my body. Wings beating faster. 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 There was a pull. Upward, but not enough. My claws barely lifted off the ground. Not enough. More speed. More force. I can go faster. I can be stronger. And then, finally, I was airborne. Wobbly, ugly, graceless, but airborne. I landed on Wintersea's palm like a sack of potatoes being thrown onto a shelf, but I made it. Victory. Wintersea stared at me. Long pause. Really long pause. Her golden eyes were doing that thing again where she looked at me like I was a math problem that didn't add up. Then she asked the one question that apparently shattered everything she thought she knew about baby dragons. Where's your magic? I blinked. My what now? Apparently, and nobody thought to mention this earlier, dragons don't fly with muscle power. They fly with magic. Every dragon is born with innate magic that lets them fly. It's automatic. Built in. Like breathing. I just brute forced my way into the air using nothing but raw wing power and stubbornness. Which, according to Wintersea's face, is not supposed to be possible. Cool. Great. Add, magically defective, to the list right after, wrong species, and broken inheritance. My resume is really coming together here. Dad, if you're watching from the stars right now, I want you to know, we are going to have a very long conversation when I find you. Okay, so remember when Wintersea asked, "Where's your magic?" And I had no idea what she was talking about? Yeah, turns out that's a really big deal. Apparently, all dragons are magical creatures. Every single one. Even Wintersea, who looks like she was specifically designed to punch things into oblivion, is classified as a magical being. The only dragons that aren't magical are some types of ground-walking dragons, which are basically the budget version of our species. No wings, no spells, just legs and attitude. Wintersea shoved her enormous face right up to her claw, right up to me, and started examining my body like I was a suspicious piece of fruit at the market. She was using something called spiritual power to scan me from the inside out. My heart was pounding. This felt exactly like those scenes from Dad's memories where scientists strap things to tables and start poking around. One wrong reading, and I'm dragon toast. After a long, uncomfortable silence, Wintersea pulled back looking more confused than before. Which, let me tell you, is not what you want to see on the face of the giant red dragon who controls whether you live or die. Here's my situation. Apparently, every physical detail of my body screams, pure silver dragon. The scales, the build, the horns, textbook silver. But my muscles are way too strong for a silver dragon, and my magical sensitivity is basically zero. Like, less than zero. My body says, elegant spellcaster, but my stats say, muscle-bound groundwalker who skipped every magic class. It makes no sense. Silver dragons are supposed to be the best magic users among all metallic dragons. They have water element affinity and can cast spells from other elements too. The only metallic dragon type that can do that. If my silver dragon blood was strong, I should be lighting up like a magical Christmas tree. But I'm reading like a dead battery. And if the groundwalker blood was dominant, my wings should have been shriveled up or never grown at all. Because groundwalkers don't do wings. But here I am. Full wingspan. Strong muscles. Zero magic. A walking contradiction wrapped in silver scales. While Wintersea was spiraling into her little diagnostic crisis, my brain had gone completely off the rails in a different direction. I was over here thinking about whether this world has biological experimentation facilities. Whether a magicless dragon would be accepted by magic-using dragons. Whether I'd end up as some kind of lab specimen for Wintersea's evil schemes. I genuinely tried, to feel magic inside myself. Nothing. Not a spark, not a tingle, not even a lukewarm magical burp. Completely empty. Part of me was genuinely bummed. Those web novels and Dad's memories made magic sound amazing. Flashy spells, elemental explosions, devastating power. And I get none of it. My inheritance package is basically a lemon. Then my brain, which had been sliding down a spiral of paranoia like it stepped on a banana peel, somehow landed on. Does the afterlife exist in this world? Because at this rate, I might need to check. That's when Wintersea snapped me out of it. Veet, can you give me a drop of your blood? Oh sure. Casual request. Nothing ominous about a giant, possibly evil red dragon asking for a blood sample from a defenseless newborn. Totally normal medical procedure. But fine. I looked at my claw. Thought about cutting myself. Nope. Can't do it. Too scared. I searched my whole body for the least painful spot. My eyes landed on my tail, that stupid, disobedient tail that never does what I want anyway. Perfect candidate. Sacrifice the traitor. It took me several minutes of psyching myself up. Wintersea was clearly getting impatient. Finally, I gritted my teeth, gave the very tip of my tail the tiniest scratch imaginable, and squeezed out what can only be described as a thread of blood. Not a drop. A thread. Barely visible. Microscopic. Homeopathic amounts of blood. I looked up at Wintersea proudly, like I'd just slain a mountain beast. She stared at me with those giant golden eyes that clearly said, "Is this creature actually a dragon? Fair. But pain is pain, okay? Size doesn't matter when it comes to Aukis." She used her spiritual power to float my tiny blood offering into her mouth for analysis. A few seconds passed. Then her pupils contracted. Her jaw dropped, or whatever the dragon equivalent of a jaw drop is. She looked at me like I'd just told her the sky was made of cheese. Turns out, my blood is pure. Absurdly pure. Purer than hers. Whatever species I am, the bloodline is the real deal. But here's the twist. She couldn't identify what species it belonged to. Not silver dragon. Not gold dragon. Not any dragon she's ever encountered. My blood was screaming. I'm a purebred something, but refusing to say what. For one brief, beautiful second, I could see it flash across her face. Could star dragons actually be real? She shook it off. Of course she did. Then she asked me something that cracked my heart wide. Open, little one. Do your inherited memories contain images of your father or mother? I was about to say no when, boom, two figures exploded into my mind from somewhere deep in my memory bank. The first was a silver-white dragon that looked exactly like me. Except she was so unbelievably massive that stars, literal stars, sat in her claws like marbles. Like those little glass balls from Dad's human memories. She held celestial bodies the way a kid holds toys. That was my mother. The second figure was much smaller, only about 10 meters, with a body similar to Wintersea's red dragon shape, but covered in golden patterns that looked like flowing lava, especially across his chest. He was tiny compared to Mom, but the power radiating off him was incomprehensible. The kind of power that made the stars themselves tremble. That was my father. and they were both looking at me with such warmth, such tenderness. I didn't even realize I was crying until I felt the tears rolling down my scales. Crying. On my first day alive. In front of everyone. Including 4 siblings who already think I'm a loser who can't fly. Wintersea, with surprising gentleness for someone whose face is stuck on horror movie poster, said, "It's okay if you can't remember." But also, crying doesn't really suit a dragon. I wiped my eyes with the back of my claw. Stubbornly. Aggressively. No. I remember them. My mother. Looks like me. Wintersea's eyes lit up. Probably a silver dragon. Probably. Probably. Because at this point, nothing about me follows the rules. And my father. Looks like you. She blinked. A red dragon? Wait, you said looks like me? I nodded. Similar shape. But he has golden patterns across his body, like molten lava, especially on his chest. I deliberately left out the size stuff. Even without proper bloodline knowledge, I could tell my parents were not normal dragons. A mother who holds stars like toys? A father whose mere presence makes the cosmos shake? Yeah, I'm keeping that information in the vault for now. Wintersea's eyes went wide. A variant dragon, whatever that means. The way she said it made it sound like I just told her my dad was some kind of mythological celebrity. Great. My mom is a star-juggling giant. My dad is a lava-tattooed anomaly. And I'm their magicless, can't fly properly, cries onto one eggshell-eating baby who was misidentified as a mindless beast within 5 minutes of being born. This family is a mess, and I haven't even left the cave yet. Wintersea explained dragon taxonomy to me, and honestly, it's like a corporate org chart designed by someone who hates simplicity. Greater dragons, ground-walking dragons, flying dragons, and then greater dragons split into 5 more subcategories. Metallic, chromatic, crystal, elemental, and then the catch-all bin called variant dragons for anyone who doesn't fit the other 4 boxes. Guess which category I landed in? The junk drawer. Variant dragon. We literally don't know what you are, classification. Apparently my dad was one too. Some kind of unique mutation that maybe only ever existed once. And whatever freaky strength-based talent he had, it got passed down to yours truly. Which explains why I can crack rocks with my face, but can't light a magical candle. Wintersea wanted more blood to run further tests. I clutched my tail like it was my firstborn child. She gave me that look. Hand it over, or I'll take it myself. Look. After an embarrassing amount of whimpering, I squeezed out another pathetic drop. She wanted more. By the time she was satisfied, I was emotionally and physically devastated, curled up around my poor abused tail, mourning every lost blood cell. Then she carried us outside. And okay, I'll admit it. The sky hit different in person. Blue and enormous and real, not just a picture from Dad's memories. My 4 siblings stood there with their mouths hanging open like complete tourists. I gave them my best. I've seen better. Look while secretly peeking at the sky myself. Dad was up there somewhere, past all that blue. Someday, I whispered. Wintersea caught me being sentimental. I immediately pretended I wasn't. Then she told us to look down, and that's when my brain just stopped. Decidro is a massive canyon, impossibly huge, filled with colorful plants the size of skyscrapers, flocks of unknown creatures spiraling through the air, and across the opposite cliff face, hundreds of dark openings carved into the rock. Dragon caves, our future homes. The whole place looked like someone painted a fantasy paradise inside a geological crack in the earth. Peaceful, beautiful, absolutely nothing like the evil villain lair I'd been imagining for the last hour. Wintersea looked down at it with such genuine warmth and pride that my entire, she's secretly evil, theory started developing some serious cracks. Would an evil mastermind really get misty-eyed over a pretty canyon? I don't know. Maybe not. When she asked if it was nice, I hesitated, then nodded. She told us the cliffs above the canyon lead to the wilderness, which is apparently a death trap for baby dragons. So flying up there is strictly forbidden. Standing at the edge of her claw, looking out at this strange, beautiful hidden world, I made a small, tentative decision. Maybe, just maybe, I could trust this place a tiny bit. For now, Wintersea took us on a walk through the canyon, which for her means casually destroying everything underfoot. Rocks crumbling, ground scorching. She's basically a mobile natural disaster in mom mode. Meanwhile, 5 baby dragons are sitting on her claw like passengers on the world's most terrifying bus ride. She gave us the survival briefing. Decidro is safe, but not for us. The jungle is full of herbivore dragon beasts that are usually chill, but apparently when they snap, a newborn dragon is basically a chew toy. We're not allowed outside alone until we can use lower magic. Not because the magic is strong enough to fight anything. Oh no. It's just enough to keep us airborne long enough for a nearby adult dragon to hear us screaming and come save our butts. My siblings deflated instantly. They've been fantasizing about heroic magical combat. And the reality is, learn magic so you can run away louder. Beautiful. I stayed quiet in my corner, privately judging all of them. These idiots want to fight things? We were born 20 minutes ago. Ever heard of self-preservation? Curiosity killed the cat. People. Speaking of cats, I suddenly wondered if this world has fluffy animals. Then I scratched my own scale with my claw and got sparks. Metal on metal friction. My own body is basically an armored tank. Could I even feel something soft? This realization genuinely bummed me out. One more joy of life, gone before it started. Then Wintersea stopped walking and announced we'd reached our destination. I assumed we were heading to those cliffside dragon caves across the canyon, but nope. Those are for grown-ups only. We're going to school. The Decidro Dragon Academy. She stepped forward, space itself rippled like water, and suddenly we're standing in front of the most enormous ancient stone building I've ever seen. It's shaped like a hollow volcano, cone-shaped, open at the top, absolutely massive. The front door alone dwarfs Wintersea, and she's hundreds of meters tall. Dragon roars echoed from inside, and every single one of my siblings shrunk their necks down in fear. I did not shrink. My neck was already short. Totally different situation. Then Wintersea dropped her second bombshell of the day. She's the principal. This whole time, the egg-hatching, cave-dwelling, scary-smiled giant red dragon lady is basically the headmaster of Dragon Hogwarts. She explained why school exists. Bloodline inheritance knowledge fades over time if you don't actively study it. The academy teaches you to lock that information in permanently. And for dragons like me with garbage inheritance, there's a library with enough material to keep me busy for a lifetime. I'll just have to work harder than everyone else. Story of my life. And my life is literally one day old. The gates opened with deep mechanical groaning, and inside was a colossal open courtyard where hundreds of dragons, different species, different sizes, were flying, wrestling, playing, and generally being rowdy teenagers. Nobody even paused when the principal walked in. Zero respect. I kind of like that. The building is 9 floors tall, no stairs anywhere because dragons fly, and the corridors are wide enough for several Wintersea-sized dragons to walk side by side. Giant stone pillars hold everything up. The whole structure was clearly built inside an actual extinct volcano. I caught Wintersea watching her students with that same warm, proud look she keeps giving everything. She's secretly evil. Theory is really struggling at this point. Would an evil overlord look at a bunch of rowdy dragon kids like a proud grandmother at a school play? My guard dropped. Just a little. Just enough that I stopped mentally drafting escape plans and started thinking maybe, dragon school won't be the worst thing ever. I mean, it's still school. Let's not get carried away. Wintersea dropped us off at our new home, a cave carved into the 6th floor of a volcano-turned school. One cave, for all 5 of us. When I pointed out this seemed like a terrible roommate situation, she basically said, "You're babies, you don't get your own apartment." She had a point. The cave was enormous. I could have parked a fleet of those things from Dad's memories inside, and still had room for a swimming pool. But I already had a plan. A beautiful plan. Beat up all 4 siblings until they're too terrified to sleep near me. Wintersea separates us. I get my own cave. Flawless logic. Villain origin story energy, but for a good cause. Personal space. Then came the blood ritual for the door barrier. Again with the blood. This world runs on dragon blood, like Dad's world runs on electricity. My siblings just chomped their own claws open like absolute psychopaths, didn't even flinch, smeared blood on the invisible barrier, and waltzed inside. Then they turned around and smirked at me, like I was the weird one for not enjoying self-harm. Wintersea offered to help me. I looked at her claws, each one bigger than my entire body, sharp enough to split atoms, and nearly fainted. I scratched my poor, suffering tail again and squeezed out another reluctant drop. That tail has given more blood today than some dragons give in a lifetime. Before leaving, Wintersea hit us with one last warning. Our older schoolmates would love us, but their love would literally crush us. Don't sneak out. The way she said, heavy love, made it sound like getting hugged by a bulldozer. We all immediately abandoned our sneaking out plans. Curious, not stupid. The second Wintersea's footsteps faded, everything changed. A white dragon, the biggest of us five, suddenly lit up with glowing light magic and declared herself queen. Name Celine. Holy dragon. I hatched first, so I'm the boss. You all answer to me now. She was radiating actual magical energy. Glowing white light particles floating off her body like she was some kind of divine night light with anger issues. My other three siblings looked frustrated but couldn't argue. She could use magic and they couldn't yet. Classic schoolyard power move. Whoever glows first rules. I just stood there processing. 5 minutes without adult supervision and we already have a dictator. This roommate situation is going to be exactly as terrible as I predicted. Celine started her little roll call like a drill sergeant at boot camp, pointing her chin at dragons and demanding introductions. Real dictator energy for someone who's been alive less than a day. First up was Dynite, a green dragon girl. Her voice was adorable, soft and babyish, the kind that makes you want to protect her. But I'm not falling for that. Her tail whips through the air like a weapon, and those 4 horns curving upward look meaner than any other dragons here. Cute voice, murder hardware. Classic trap. Celine offered Dynite a fight for the leadership position. Dynite thought about it for half a second, then wisely shut up. Smart girl. Celine has size and magic. Picking that fight right now would be like bringing a spoon to a sword fight. Next was Billy, my crystal-covered neighbor. He surprised me. Instead of puffing up or cowering, he basically said, "Fine, I'll follow you, but don't push it." Conditions. Boundaries. Negotiations. From the same dragon who tried to steal O's eggshell 10 minutes after being born. I had him pegged as reckless and greedy, but apparently there's a brain hiding under all that red crystal. And about those crystals, Billy looks bizarre. Red crystal clusters growing out of every joint, along his spine, and his horns are entirely crystal, like a jagged crown. His chest has a hexagonal crystal poking out of it, and his tail ends in a giant crystal ball that looks like a medieval weapon. If that thing is as hard as it looks, Billy is secretly carrying around a wrecking ball on his backside. Oh, the golden meathead was next, and he did not play nice. He stood up, spread his wings to full span, and basically said, "Fight me." No magic. Winner leads. Pure muscle-brained jock behavior. Exactly what my inheritance memories predicted about gold dragons. At least he's consistent. Then every eye turned to me. Celine called me crybaby. Crybaby. Because apparently crying once on your birthday is enough to earn a permanent nickname in dragon society. These people have zero forgiveness. She told me to introduce myself, adding that since I don't even know my own species, the least I could do was share my name. The other 3 looked at me with that specific flavor of contempt reserved for the kid who gets picked last in gym class. No magic, skinny body, can't fly properly. In their eyes, I'm the runt of the litter. Dragon society runs on strength. They don't bully the weak. That's beneath their pride. But they also don't associate with the weak. Also beneath their pride. Convenient system they've built for themselves there. Something inside me snapped. Not the sad kind of snap. The fun kind. You can call me Veet. And honestly, I don't think you're all that strong. Every jaw in the cave dropped. Celine's eyes narrowed to slits. You want to fight me? With what? Silver dragons are magic specialists, and you have no magic. What are you going to use? Your skinny little body. I didn't answer. I just launched. Legs pushed off the ground. Wings beating. Charging straight at her in my ridiculous hop-glide running style. No hesitation. No second thoughts. See, everyone thinks this is about pride or bravery or standing up for myself. That's adorable. The real plan is much simpler. Beat up all 4 roommates until they're so miserable they complain to Wintersea, who then has to give me my own cave. Violence isn't the answer. Violence is the question, and the answer is solo housing. Celine saw me coming and her eyes went cold. Fine by her. Dragons never back down from a fight. 2 baby dragons, less than a day old, about to throw down in their shared bedroom. Worst. Roommates. Ever. My master plan to beat up all 4 roommates and earn solo housing hit a wall approximately 30 seconds into its execution. That wall was named Celine. When I charged at her, my claws bounced off her scales like I was scratching a diamond. Sparks everywhere, zero damage. Same thing when she hit me. Sparks, no scratches. We're basically two tanks throwing pillows at each other. She figured out pretty quick that I can't fly properly, so she took to the air. Smart move. From up there, she had every advantage: speed, angles, mobility. On the ground, I was basically a sitting duck with scales. But here's the thing about having a dad who left you memories of an entire civilization. You pick up some tricks. I ran. Not away, just ran. And apparently my legs are ridiculous, because I hit speeds that made me look like a silver lightning bolt. Celine's face when she saw how fast I was moving? Priceless. But she recovered quickly. Flying is still faster than running. Duh. She dove at me, glowing with holy light like some kind of divine missile. Here's where I pulled the move that no dragon textbook contains. I stopped dead. Full sprint to 0 in 1 instant. My joints screamed, my muscles locked up, but I didn't care because Celine had just flown directly over my head. I jumped. Not flew. Jumped. Pure leg strength. Shot up like a cannonball. Actually went higher than her, grabbed onto her body midair, and dragged us both crashing into the ground in a beautiful explosion of rocks and dust. The other three watched with their jaws on the floor. This was not in the script. The magic-less weakling just body-slammed the self-proclaimed queen out of the sky. From there it turned into a ground wrestling match. She tried to claw my face. I caught her arm. She realized my strength was actually greater than hers, which visibly broke her brain. How does the skinniest dragon hit the hardest? Life's full of mysteries, Celine. We rolled around biting and clawing each other like two angry cats in a pillowcase. Sparks flying everywhere, not a single scale lost between us. The other three couldn't decide whether to break it up or sell tickets. Then, we both ran out of gas. Just flopped, lying there panting like two deflated balloons. We'd been alive for hours and already used up every drop of energy fighting each other over bedroom politics. My beautiful plan crumbled before my eyes. I couldn't even finish one sibling, let alone 4. At this rate, getting my own cave through violence would take approximately forever. Celine stood up first, still somehow managing to look dignified while completely exhausted. And then she did something that actually caught me off guard. She apologized. I underestimated you. I'm sorry. Then her eyes hardened. But I'll remember this. Next time, I win. She told O that since she'd failed to beat me, she had no right to accept his challenge as boss. But if he still wanted to fight, she'd take him on anyway. Then she looked at me one last time, something complicated behind those golden eyes, and walked deeper into the cave. I lay there on the ground, covered in spark burns, 0 closer to getting my own room, grudgingly respecting a dragon I'd planned to terrorize. This whole solo housing through violence plan needs serious revision. Maybe a spreadsheet. Do dragons have spreadsheets? Dad's memories probably have something about Excel. After Celine walked away, I dragged myself to the nearest wall and collapsed. Wrapped my wings around my body like a silver burrito of shame. Nobody could see me trembling. That was the plan anyway. Here's what I didn't tell anyone. I was hurt. Muscle strain in all 4 legs from that insane full sprint to dead stop move. In Dad's world, they'd call it a sports injury. In my world, they call it being a newborn idiot who tried to defy physics. The other 3, Billy, Dynite, and O, actually started walking toward me. Like they were going to talk. Be friendly. My heart did a tiny happy flutter that I will deny until the stars burn out. Then they saw my wings closed, back turned, clearly not interested posture, and turned around. They left, and I watched them go through a gap in my wings, pretending I didn't care, forcing a cold laugh in my head to make myself feel better. It didn't work. I fell asleep feeling sorry for myself, which is apparently the dragon equivalent of hitting the gym. While I was knocked out, fire elements from the air started flowing into my body, not that I noticed. When I woke up, my legs didn't hurt anymore, and I was slightly stronger. Dragons level up by napping. That's the most unfair biological advantage I've ever heard of, and I love it. But 1 nap's worth of growth wasn't enough. Not even close. Celine almost beat me, and she ran out of stamina first. If she'd had just a tiny bit more energy, I would have lost. That truth sat in my stomach like a rock. I looked toward the back of the cave where everyone else was sleeping and, forced myself to look away. I don't need them. I need wings. My wings are my biggest weakness. Can't fly with magic. Can't keep up in the air. Can't chase anyone who takes off. If I don't fix this, every future fight will be the same story. And more importantly, Dad is waiting in the stars. Can't exactly reach the stars if I can't get off the ground without looking like a baby bird having a seizure. I stood in the middle of the corridor and started flapping. Not to fly, to train. Repetition after repetition, just beating my wings until they burned. My back screamed. My muscles ached. I kept going. Faster. Harder. If it's a weakness, make it strong. Simple math. That's when Celine showed up. She came out of the cave, looked around, noticed I was missing, heard my heavy breathing, and flew over. The second she saw my wings shaking, her face went from curious to panicked. Are your wings hurt? She grabbed my wing and started inspecting it like a worried nurse. I yanked it back, startled. Since when does the dragon who just tried to claw my face off care about my wing health? Don't move, she said, actually sounding scared. For a dragon with no magic, your wings are everything. If you damage them permanently, you'll never fly again. I stared at her. This bossy, arrogant, self-proclaimed queen was genuinely worried about me. Are you concerned about me? She froze. Then her chin shot up to maximum altitude and she hit me with the most Sundara response in dragon history. You're my acknowledged rival. If some preventable injury ruins your fighting ability, I'd be disappointed. That's all. Sure, Celine. Sure. I lay down and told her my wings were fine. I was just training them to get stronger. She looked confused. Training? Dragons don't train. We sleep, and every time we wake up, we're stronger. Sleeping is our training. Let that sink in. These creatures get buff from napping. Every single dragon in this academy is getting jacked in their sleep while I'm out here doing wing push-ups in a hallway like some kind of gym rat. But sleeping makes you stronger slowly. And slowly isn't good enough. Not when I have stars to reach. Too slow, I said. Celine stared at me like I'd just insulted the fundamental nature of dragonkind. Which, I guess, I kind of did. But I meant it. Sleeping and waiting for power to trickle in, that's fine for dragons with magic, with proper bloodlines, with centuries ahead of them and nowhere urgent to be. I have a dad to find, a sky to conquer, and 4 roommates to eventually intimidate into requesting a room transfer. Sleep can wait. My wings can't. Celine declared me her ultimate rival. Flattering? Yes. Embarrassing to hear out loud? Absolutely. I buried my face and pretended to rest. Then her stomach growled. Like loudly. She slammed her belly against the floor to muffle it. I immediately looked away because Dad's memories taught me one very important survival lesson. Never acknowledge a girl's stomach noises unless you want to die. That's when something enormous appeared at our cave entrance. All we could see was a giant eyeball staring in at us. My teeth came out. Celine started glowing and growling. 2 newborn dragons ready to fight an eyeball the size of a swimming pool. Turns out it was just Wintersea holding up some kind of creature to peek inside. Classic Wintersea, casually giving babies heart attacks. The creature looked like a cow from Dad's memories, except 20 meters tall, covered in brown fur over hidden scales, with dragon horns and claws instead of hooves. Boo's dragon beast, the tame, slow-moving, grass and whatever else eating variety. And this one was a baby. Adults grow to Wintersea's size. 600 to 800 meters. A cow the size of a skyscraper. This world is absolutely unhinged. Wintersea dragged it inside by the tail. The thing didn't even resist, just vibed, and gathered all 5 of us. Billy woke up and immediately started circling it like a curious puppy. Dinite watched politely. O was furious about being woken from his nap and just sat there pouting. Priorities. 1 small victory. The measurement units in this world are basically the same as the ones from Dad's memories. Meters, same concept. My brain nearly threw a celebration. At least something from that chaotic inheritance is actually useful for once. Then Wintersea announced our first lesson, and the room got very quiet. Your first class is killing 5 baby dragons. 1 gentle cow beast. The assignment, murder it and eat it. She explained that Boo's meat is packed with nutrients that help baby dragons grow stronger and faster. This wasn't cruelty, it was grocery shopping. Dragon-style grocery shopping, where the groceries are alive and bigger than you. Who wants to go first? Dead silence. 5 pairs of golden eyes blinking. Nobody moved. Look, I've been alive for maybe half a day. I've had an identity crisis, a fist fight, a blood donation, and a failed flying lesson. And now they want me to commit my first murder before dinner. This school's curriculum is aggressive. Nobody volunteered. 5 baby dragons staring at a terrified cow beast, and the silence was so thick you could chew it. Wintersea gave us the speech. The world is dangerous. Decidro can't protect us forever. Strength requires sacrifice. Freedom isn't free. Heavy stuff for day 2 of existence. Celine stepped up first. Gotta give her credit. She walked to that beast's neck like she was marching to her own execution. Her claw went in, blood erupted everywhere, and suddenly the whitest dragon in the room was completely red. But what really got her wasn't the mess. It was watching the light leave that creature's eyes. Life just stopping right in front of her. Wintersea told her, if you don't want to be on the receiving end someday, get strong. Eat. Grow. Celine bit down and started feeding without another word. O went next, didn't even hesitate. Just charged in and started chomping. Classic O. Billy followed, then Dynite. My turn. I walked up, looked at my claws, stabbed the neck. Blood sprayed everywhere, and something inside me broke. Not physically, emotionally. A wave of pure disgust hit me so hard I was standing 10 feet away before I even realized I'd moved. My claws were covered in blood and my entire body was screaming, get it OFF, get it OFF, get it OFF. I started frantically wiping my claws on the ground like a cat burying evidence. Wintersea was confused. What are you doing? Please get it off me, I said. And yes, I was begging. Dignity had left the building. She tapped me with one claw, summoned a tiny flame, and burned the blood clean off without hurting me. I exhaled like I'd just survived a near-death experience. Over some blood on my hands, while surrounded by 4 dragons literally bathing in the stuff. Do you hate blood? Wintersea asked, suddenly serious. I looked at the pool of blood on the floor. Didn't bother me at all. Looked at my now clean claws. Totally fine. No, I just can't stand it being on me. She looked at me like I was the weirdest creature she'd encountered in centuries of egg hatching. Fair. Then came the real problem. How do I eat something I refuse to touch while it's bloody and raw? My brain pulled the answer straight from Dad's memory bank. Every human civilization figured this out thousands of years ago. Can you cook it? Wintersea's face went through about 6 expressions in 2 seconds. She told me some dragons eat cooked food, but apparently it doesn't taste as good. Lady, I have the culinary standards of an entire human civilization in my head. I am not eating raw meat like some kind of animal. I'm a dragon. We should have standards. She shrugged, touched the carcass, and whooshed it up in flames. Then the smell hit. Roasted meat. Rich, savory, mouth-watering roasted meat filling the entire cave. Every single dragon stopped mid-bite and turned their heads like dogs hearing a treat bag crinkle. Billy literally drooled. What I asked that? He asked. Cooked food. Want some? Every head nodded. Wintersea sighed, tapped each of their meals with fire, and suddenly the whole cave smelled like the world's biggest barbecue restaurant. She muttered something about us regretting it, but honestly, in that moment, I felt like a cultural pioneer. Day 2 of life, and I've already introduced fine dining to dragon civilization. You're welcome, Decidro. Wintersea is actually a decent cook. That roasted booze beast? Chef's kiss. Crispy outside, juicy inside, organs cleaned out. She even left the heart, liver, lungs, and kidneys. Consider it queen of fire right there. Now, about my appetite. Everyone else ate maybe 1/10 of their beast and called it quits. Respectable portions for baby dragons. Me? I devoured my entire beast. Bones included. Then I looked at Celine with my best puppy eyes until she surrendered her leftovers. Ate most of those too. My total intake was more than all 4 siblings combined. They stared at me like I'd just swallowed a building. Which, size-wise, I basically did. Wintersea wasn't surprised though. Turns out she already knew why. My test results came back. And here's where things got wild. My species doesn't exist in any record. Not silver dragon. Not any known variant dragon. Nobody in the entire Decidro Dragon Council could classify me. Their solution? Just name yourself, kid. I almost fell over. They're letting me pick my own species name. Like choosing a username. Except it's permanent and defines my entire biological classification forever. Can I use Star Dragon? Sure. My heart soared. Dad wasn't lying. Well, he was lying technically, since the species didn't exist yet, but now it does. Because I just made it real. I am officially, legally, taxonomically a star dragon. The first and only one in existence. Take that, everyone who laughed. Then Winter Sea explained my body situation. Turns out I have elemental affinity, 2 of them, actually. Fire from dad, water from mom. But my body has a special talent inherited from my father. It EATs all my magical energy and converts it into physical strength. Every bit of magic that enters me gets devoured and turned into muscle power. That's why I'm freakishly strong, why I can fly on wing power alone, and why I eat enough food to feed a small army. Does this mean I can eventually use magic? She shook her head. My soul left my body. Well, not never. More like, uncertain. The devouring might stop during my juvenile phase, or teenage phase, or young adult phase, or never. Nobody knows because I'm literally the first dragon this has ever happened to. When I asked how long the juvenile phase lasts, she casually said, 100 years, 100 years of maybe. She tried to comfort me again. Maybe the devouring won't affect spellcasting. Maybe Wintersea's comfort skills remain absolutely terrible. If reassurance were a class, she'd be failing it. Oh, and fun bonus detail. The dragon nest, Decidro, is named after an actual dragon, a space dragon, the only one ever, who built the entire place and still protects it as Dragon Emperor. Every dragon nest apparently has a protector, and Decidro ranks in the top 10 worldwide. I had about 40 follow-up questions, but Wintersea told me to use the library. Just as I was processing all this life-changing information, a buzzing sound filled the cave. Dozens of tiny flying creatures, fingernail-sized, swarmed in heading straight for our leftover barbecue. My siblings crowded around like kids finding a cool bug. What are those? They're so tiny. Wintersea's expression dropped instantly. Stay away from them. Those are Morse dragon beasts. The way she said it made my full stomach suddenly feel very, very heavy. Nothing fingernail-sized should be spoken about with that much concern. Tiny flying bugs invaded our cave, and Wintersea went full biology teacher on us. These things, Morse dragon beasts, look like oversized flies with dragon horns and golden compound eyes that take up most of their heads. 5 centimeters long, 6 little clawed legs with barbs, transparent wings. Basically, if a fly and a dragon had a baby that nobody wanted. Wintersea trapped 5 in a floating fire bubble for show and tell. Then came the lecture. Everything in this world has dragon blood in it. Every creature, every plant, all descended from the creation dragon's single drop of blood. Smart ones became dragons. Dumb ones became dragon beasts. That's the entire classification system. You're either thinking or you're not. Democracy was never considered. She also explained that the ones in our cave are specifically ISU Morse dragon beasts because they live on the ISU plains, which is surrounded by mountains, rivers, and jungle, so all the creatures there evolved a little differently. This world takes geography-based naming very seriously. Billy, being Billy, wanted to know if they taste good. Then he licked the fire bubble. His tongue blistered instantly. He screamed, stumbled backward, and looked at the bubble like it had personally betrayed him. Wintersea was stunned. Apparently, in centuries of teaching, no student had ever tried to lick pure fire. She reminded him that dragon magic resistance comes from scales, not tongues. We all quietly took a step back from the bubble. Learning from others' mistakes is free. Here's the scary part, though. Morse beasts are the weakest creatures alive. Literally anything can kill one. But they carry plague. One lands on your food, contaminated. One touches a baby dragon, infection. And the cure is apparently a medicine so disgusting it kills your appetite for days. Our leftover barbecue was already crawling with them. Dinner, ruined. Then I noticed something else flying in. Tiny creatures that looked like perfect miniature dragons. Horns, wings, tails, claws, the whole package, just shrunken down to bug size. And they weren't eating our leftovers. They were hunting the Morse beasts. They're called ball dragons, Wintersea explained. Dragon beasts, not actual dragons. But they're considered friends of dragonkind because they eat Morse beasts. Then she poked one with her claw. It silently roared at her, adorable, and instantly puffed up into a perfect sphere 1/2 meter wide. Like a scaly, angry balloon. Wintersea grinned her nightmare grin. Fun, right? 5 baby dragons stared in complete silence at a furious inflatable mini dragon. This world is absolutely unhinged, and I am starting to love it. The ball dragons were the best entertainment I've had since being born. These tiny mini dragons puff up into transparent balloons when you poke them. They suck in wind element and inflate their bellies until they're floating spheres. Absolute comedy gold. One floated right in front of my face. We had a staring contest. It eventually decided I wasn't a threat, let out a big sigh, and deflated back to normal. Honestly, cutest thing in this entire death trap of a world. Meanwhile, Billy happened. Again, he tried to eat one. Got a puffed-up ball dragon stuck in his mouth like a scaly jawbreaker. Couldn't bite through it, couldn't spit it out. Their skin is apparently tougher than anything our baby claws or teeth can manage. Wintersea sighed the sigh of a teacher who's already regretting her career choices, grabbed Billy by the tail, and shook him until the thing popped out. Billy collapsed on the ground like a wet noodle, completely boneless. There's no meat on them anyway, Wintersea added. Billy covered his eyes in shame. The rest of us laughed for the first time as a group. It felt nice. Not that I'd admit that. Then class resumed. Topic: magic. My enthusiasm died instantly. Learning about magic I can't use feels like a starving person studying cookbooks. What's the point? Wintersea noticed. She asked all of us. Before defeating an enemy, what's the most important thing? I said, getting stronger. Billy said magic. Dynite, the green dragon girl, said she agreed with me, because strength isn't just about magic. Then she looked at me and gave me a friendly nod. I froze for a second. That was unexpected. I nodded back. A tiny, cautious nod. But still, somewhere between the fight with Celine and this moment, my paranoid escape fantasies had completely evaporated. Thinking back on my whole, Wintersea is secretly an evil overlord. Theory made me want to dig a hole and bury myself in it. Thank God nobody can read minds here. Also getting my own cave, dead dream. After barely surviving one fight with Celine, they beat up everyone for solo housing. Plan is officially in the recycling bin. Which means my best option now is actually making friends with these dragons. My pride keeps screaming, don't you dare, but my brain knows better. Celine gave the winning answer. Know your enemy. Wintersea praised her, then turned to me with the real lesson. Veet, you can't cast magic right now. But magic is the mainstream of this entire world. Even the weakest dragon species uses it. You must learn magic, not to cast it, but to understand it. Learn it, study it, and then you can beat it. She's right, and I hate that she's right. Can't use the weapon? Fine. Learn how it works so you can dodge it, counter it, and make everyone who can use it wonder how some magicless weirdo keeps winning. Study the cookbook. Outsmart the chefs. Just when I'd accepted my fate as the only magicless dragon in existence, Wintersea dropped a bombshell that nearly made me levitate with excitement, which would have been ironic since I can barely fly. There's one magic every greater dragon can use, no matter what. It's hardwired into our DNA. Even if my body devours every scrap of magical energy like a bottomless stomach, this one spell is carved so deep into my bloodline that nothing can erase it. Dragon breath. The second those words hit my ears, my brain exploded with a vision. Not a daydream, a memory. From Dad. He was floating in the void of space, facing a creature the size of a star. I am not exaggerating. This thing made planets look like pebbles. One inhale, and Dad should have been cosmic dust. Instead, the golden lava patterns on his body lit up. White-hot fire leaked from the corners of his mouth like divine smoke. And then he opened his jaw and unleashed a beam of blazing white flame that punched through the star beast's body like a bullet through paper. I could see space through the hole. The edges were charred black. My dad one-shot something the size of a sun. Of course, I couldn't tell anyone that. Yeah, my father was fighting a star-sized monster in outer space. Would get me committed to whatever dragon psychiatric ward exists. I downgraded the story. Plain battlefield. Opponent was an adult booze beast. Same fire breath. Believable version. Wintersea analyzed it. White lava breath. High temperature. Penetrating force. Possibly fire toxic. Quite powerful, she said casually, like Dad hadn't just vaporized a cosmic entity. Will MY breath be like that? Nope. Maybe. Depends. I might inherit Mom's silver dragon breath instead. Something called elemental breath that combines 3 or more elements, always including water. Sounds cool, but less, punch a hole through reality, and more, fancy magical smoothie. Then Billy ruined his own day. He bragged that crystal dragon breath sounds way cooler than boring, elemental breath. Wintersea paused. Billy, crystal breath is the weakest of all greater dragon breaths. Billy screamed internally, grabbed his own head, and begged to unhear it. Wintersea mercifully said he could pretend she never spoke. The other three wanted their reviews too. Green dragons get 2 breaths, deadly poison and nature magic. O's gold dragon breath is lava-based like red dragons, but with fire and earth elements. And Celine's holy dragon breath? Light particle breath, fastest speed, strongest penetration of almost any dragon type. Of course, the self-proclaimed queen gets the premium package. Then Wintersea announced we're going outside to actually practice breathing fire. Our cave had become a ball dragon circus anyway. Dozens of them bouncing around, eating morse beasts off our contaminated leftovers. Let the inflatable janitors handle cleanup. For the first time since being born, I'm genuinely excited about something that isn't food or solo housing. I'm about to breathe fire. Or water. Or a magical smoothie. Whatever comes out, it's mine, and nobody can take it from me. Watch out, stars. I'm coming for you. One breath at a time. Wintersea took us outside for breath training, and it was immediately a disaster. Not because of the training, because the outside world is basically a theme park for baby dragons with 0 attention spans. Every 10 seconds something new grabbed my eyeballs. These butterfly-looking things called pobby dragon beasts were dancing around giant purple flowers, sucking nectar with their terrifying little mouths full of razor teeth. They're gorgeous and horrifying, like if a butterfly went through a punk phase. Their eyes are on the tips of their antennae, which is deeply unsettling, but also fascinating, and I could not stop staring. Veet, you're distracted again. Sorry. But they're so, Veet. Meanwhile, Billy tried to sneak away entirely. Wintersea grabbed him by the tail without even looking, dragged him back, and kept teaching like nothing happened. This woman has raised thousands of baby dragons. She has eyes in the back of her enormous, terrifying head. She threatened to take us back to the dark cave if we couldn't focus. 5 little dragons instantly became the most attentive students in history. Anything but the cave. Anything. Breathing exercises came first. The key to dragon breath is maintaining a long exhale, because apparently, rookie dragons forget they're breathing fire and inhale mid-breath, burning the inside of their own mouths. No scales in there. Just soft, burnable flesh. Hurt your mouth? No eating until it heals. Watching everyone else feast while you drool in pain. Billy, naturally, went the opposite direction and held his breath until he nearly passed out. Wintersea had to yell at him to breathe. This dragon is a walking safety hazard. After enough breathing practice, Wintersea moved us to the real deal, feeling magical elements for the first time. Close your eyes. Empty your mind. Feel. She wrapped us in her spiritual energy to guide us. I did exactly what she said. Eyes closed. Mind blank. Relaxed. Then everything went dark. Not normal dark. Void dark. I couldn't open my eyes, couldn't move, couldn't do anything. Just floating in pure blackness. Then I saw them. Tiny glowing dots. A red one drifting through the emptiness. Then a blue one. Then more. Dozens. Hundreds. Red and blue mostly. Some green. A few other colors. Fire and water elements. My parents' elements. I felt a warmth from the red and blue ones. A connection. Like they recognized me. They started floating closer, and my heart swelled with hope. Then my body did what my body always does. It ate them. The elements rushed toward me. Not gently, not willingly. They were being sucked in. Like iron filings flying toward a magnet. I could feel their panic. These tiny magical particles were terrified of me. The ones that got too close were devoured instantly. The rest? They scattered like scared deer, fleeing as far from me as possible. Every single element in that dark void ran away from me like I was a monster. I tried to chase them. Couldn't move. The darkness held me like chains. Then light returned. The vision ended. I was back under the big red tree, staring up at Wintersea, who was staring at me with an expression I was starting to recognize. Pity mixed with fascination. The elements are running away from me, I blurted out. Does that mean I can never use magic? She confirmed what we already suspected. My body devours magical elements before they can respond to my commands. Unless the devouring stops on its own someday, magic is permanently off the table. I'm sorry, Vitya. Me too. Even though I knew this was coming, hearing it said out loud, with finality, felt like swallowing a stone. My four siblings were still sitting there with their eyes closed, happily swimming in magical elements that wanted to be near them. Elements that came when called. Elements that didn't flee in terror. Must be nice. But Winter Sea reminded me, dragon breath doesn't use external elements. It comes from inside. My body can eat all the ambient magic it wants. The breath is mine regardless. I looked at my siblings, still peacefully communing with the magical universe that wants nothing to do with me. This is enough, I said. What do I do next? Because that's all I can do. Keep moving forward. The universe doesn't want to cooperate? Fine. I'll drag what I need out of my own guts if I have to. Stars don't care if you can cast spells. They just care if you can reach them. Winter Sea told me to rest. I heard, go train your wings some more. Same thing, really. I found that pobby dragon beast hovering near its purple flower and thought, I want to do that. Just hang in the air, motionless, like gravity forgot about me. Every other dragon does it with magic. I'm going to do it with pure stubbornness and wing muscle. It went about as well as you'd expect. I flapped until my back seized up and I dropped out of the sky like a silver brick. Winter Sea caught me in her claw, which, by the way, is harder than the ground. Wonderful cushion, like falling onto a steel park bench. She told me training takes time and I won't be strong tomorrow or the day after. Encouraging stuff. Then came the real lesson, dragon breath. Winter Sea told us to use our spiritual power to find the dragon crystal inside our heads. That's where magical elements are stored. Celine found hers instantly because of course she did. Then Dynite. Then me. Fourth place. Before Billy. My dragon crystal is tiny, fingernail-sized, but it's there, and inside it I could feel two elements. Fire and water. My parents' gifts, trapped inside a pebble in my skull. Billy found his last and immediately claimed he would have been faster if he'd been actually trying. Every dragon present rolled their eyes simultaneously. It was beautiful. Step 2. Find the elemental lungs. 2 special chambers in our chests, right between our actual lungs. Not organs, more like pocket dimensions inside my body. One radiating heat that could melt anything. One radiating cold that could freeze the universe. Fire and ice, sitting in my ribcage like 2 roommates who hate each other. Then something took over. An instinct, deep, primal, undeniable, screaming at me to send the fire elements from my crystal into that hot chamber. My body knew what to do before my brain caught up. I pushed the fire elements down. My spiritual energy drained like someone pulled a plug. I got kicked out of my inner vision completely. And in the real world, my mouth opened on its own. White-hot fire leaked from the corners of my jaw. Then a blinding flash of light shot out. It hit Winter Sea's chin. One of her scales started smoking. I collapsed, gasping, completely drained, lying on the ground like a deflated balloon. But every single dragon was staring at me in absolute shock. Winter Sea touched her singed scale with wide eyes. My siblings' jaws were on the floor. I just used dragon breath. First, before all of them, the magicless dragon, the broken one, the crybaby who can't fly. And it was white, blazing, blinding white, just like Dad's. I couldn't move. I couldn't speak. Every drop of energy was gone. But somewhere deep in my exhausted, trembling chest, a tiny flame of pride was burning brighter than anything I'd just spit out. Dad, I don't know if you saw that from the stars, but your kid just scorched a dragon the size of a skyscraper, with a breath the size of a toothpick. But still, lying on the ground completely drained, I watched Winter Sea touch her chin where my breath had hit. Her scale was smoking, and the look on her face? Pure, unfiltered shock. Let me put this in context. Winter Sea is a legendary peak dragon, the 7th of 9 power levels. She's 8,000 years old. Her scales can tank fire-type forbidden spells without breaking a sweat. She's basically fireproof wrapped and fireproof dipped in more fireproof. And my little toothpick-sized breath made her feel warmth. Apparently that means my breath's temperature rivals high-level fire magic. A newborn, less than 2 days old. My breath could seriously injure any dragon at gold rank or below in a surprise attack. That is, to use a technical term, absolutely insane. Winter Sea got very serious very fast. Veet, promise me. Never aim your breath at any Decidro dragon unless they betray the nest. She glanced at my siblings. Didn't finish the sentence. Didn't need to. Message received. My breath could kill them. I promised. She looked at me like a mother who just realized her toddler accidentally picked up a loaded weapon. Then it was everyone else's turn, and I got to watch from my exhausted puddle on the ground. Celine went second. Blinding white flash, similar to mine, but without the white fire buildup. She aimed at Winter C's chin too. Coincidence or competitive spite? You decide. Winter C said, very powerful. Celine immediately asked, compared to Vite? Dead silence from Winter C. That silence said everything. Celine walked over, lay down near me, and just stared at me with the intensity of someone memorizing your face for a revenge painting. Deeply uncomfortable. O went third. Golden lava breath, fan-shaped, sticky, melting rocks and igniting grass wherever it dripped. Winter C praised the viscosity, temperature, and fire poison. Textbook lava breath. O glanced at me, then lay down pretending to nap while secretly watching everyone. Sneaky golden jock. Billy went fourth and his breath was special. He charged up a red fireball in his mouth, then shot out dozens of diamond-shaped red crystals wrapped in fire energy. They rained down on Winter C's chin like a gem-encrusted machine gun. Every single crystal shattered on contact. Winter C's mouth twitched. Authentic crystal breath. Billy's face collapsed. He knew. Crystal breath, officially the weakest breath type among all greater dragons. He'd been bragging about how cool crystal breath sounded just hours ago. The universe has a cruel sense of humor. Dynite went last. A green beam, gentle-looking, almost peaceful, like a tiny waterfall of light. Hit Winter C's chin with zero visible damage. But between Dynite and Winter C, every blade of grass turned ash gray. The ground turned gray. Life itself was just sucked out. Dead soil. Dead plants. A perfect stripe of death from a dragon who sounds like a baby kitten. Winter C's eyes lit up. Nature breath, even stronger than poison breath. Dynite just smiled tiredly. No bragging. No celebrating. The quietest dragon with the scariest power. Noted. Filing that under, never make the green girl angry. Scorecard from day 2 of life. I have the strongest single target damage. Celine has speed and penetration. O has sticky area denial. Dynite can literally drain life from the earth, and Billy has sparkly confetti that breaks on impact. Sorry, Billy. Someone had to be last. But honestly, lying there exhausted, watching my siblings discover their powers one by one, each of them collapsing after a single shot just like me, I felt something I hadn't expected. We're all equally pathetic right now, and somehow that made me feel like maybe we're in this together. Don't tell them I thought that. After the breath training, Winter C let us roam free as a reward for being the most talented batch she'd ever seen. 1 try each. Apparently previous classes needed dozens of attempts. We're basically the gifted program of Dragon School. My siblings scattered like kids at recess, poking every weird plant and chasing every bug. Even though Mr. Silent Tough Guy was secretly fascinated. But me? Been there, seen that. Dad's memory bank includes an entire planet's worth of nature documentaries. A purple flower the size of a car? Cool. Wake me when something surprises me. What I actually wanted was to keep training. My breath is the strongest among us 5, which sounds amazing until you remember Winter C basically told me to never use it on anyone at Decidro because I'd kill them. A weapon you can't aim, can't control, and can't practice with is just a fancy liability. I asked Winter C for tips on building stamina faster. She reminded me, gently, like talking to a particularly impatient toddler, that I've been alive for 2 days. The juvenile phase lasts 100 years. Then 200 years of adolescence. I can't leave the nest until I'm a young adult. 300 years of mandatory school before I can step outside. 300 years. I asked about the stars. She said space is beautiful but deadly. No air, endless cosmic winds, freezing emptiness. Dad is up there? In that? Waiting for me in a frozen void where breathing is optional? I curled up under my wings and didn't talk to anyone for the rest of the afternoon. That night, everyone was snoring in the cave. Different pitches, different rhythms, a full orchestra of unconscious dragons. I couldn't sleep. The leftover barbecue smell still lingered, but the food was gone. Either the plague flies ate it, or the ball dragons did. Either way, my stomach was filing complaints. I made a decision. A terrible, wonderful, absolutely stupid decision. I snuck out. Wintersea had specifically warned us not to leave the cave at night. The older students, love, would crush us. But the corridors were empty. The courtyard below was deserted. Not a single dragon in sight. Perfect. I wanted to see the stars. Our cave is on the 6th floor. The opening at the top of the volcano school is above the 9th floor. 3 floors up, I could already see starlight and moonlight pouring through. I jumped off the ledge and flew upward. 2 floors went fine. Then my wings started giving out because of course they did. My stamina is a joke. But the 9th floor railing was right there. I bit down on every ounce of willpower I had and flapped like my life depended on it. Made it. Collapsed on the stone corridor. Sweet relief. Then a voice came from directly behind me. Well, I caught a little dragon wandering at night. Every scale on my body stood straight up. I turned around very slowly and saw a dragon the size of Wintersea, glowing faintly blue-green, standing right behind me. And I could see through her. The stone wall behind her was clearly visible through her transparent body. She was see-through, like a ghost. A dragon ghost. My brain processed exactly one thought. Ghost. And then shut down completely. I fainted. Just. Lights out. Full system crash. The magicless, fearless. I'm a star dragon born free. Tough guy saw a transparent dragon and dropped like a sack of rocks. The last thing I heard before consciousness abandoned me was her cheerful voice saying, "Hello. You can call me Bo.ko." Why did he faint? Great first impression, Veet. Really nailed it. Dad, if you're watching from the stars, your son just passed out because of a friendly ghost. Please don't tell anyone up there. I woke up with 3 questions. Who am I? Where am I? What happened? Answers. Veet. No clue, and I fainted like a coward because of a see-through dragon. Excellent. The room was huge, well-lit, and smelled terrible. Like someone mixed every bad smell from Dad's memory world into one concentrated perfume of regret. Crystal containers everywhere, colorful liquids bubbling on stone tables, big shelves lining the walls with enormous jars full of. I walked closer. Eyeballs. Giant. Golden-pupiled. Eyeballs. Each one the size of my head, floating in green liquid inside crystal jars. Rows and rows of them. Different sizes. Different pupil shapes. Some gold, some other colors. A full eyeball collection. Every scale on my body stood up like a porcupine having a panic attack. Then I noticed something worse. Some of those eyeballs had glowing gold pupils, not regular gold. The bright, blazing gold that only greater dragons have. Those weren't beast eyes. Those were dragon eyes. Then I saw the jar. The one that made my soul try to leave my body. Inside a container big enough to fit several of me, floating in that sickly green liquid, was a dragon. A baby dragon. Silver scales. My build. My shape. 9 out of 10 resemblance to me. A dead silver dragon in a jar. Every conspiracy theory I'd ever abandoned came screaming back. Evil experiments. Mad scientists. Wintersea is harvesting organs. I knew it. The web novels were right. I found it deep in the Star Origin Mountains. I nearly jumped out of my scales. The ghost dragon was floating right behind me, staring at the jar with a sad, nostalgic expression, like she was looking at an old photograph, not a pickled baby dragon. Did you kill it? My voice came out like sandpaper. Of course not. It caught the plague. Without an adult dragon's care, an infected hatchling can't survive. She paused. What exactly do you think I am? A ghost dragon, she blinked. Then it clicked. Ah, you must be Veet. Wintersea sent me your blood for testing and told me about your situation. Another baby with a broken inheritance. She studied me with interest. Your blood is extraordinary, by the way. Most domineering bloodline I've ever analyzed. If you could spare a bit more, I grabbed my tail and growled at her. No more blood. Not today. Not ever. My tail has given enough to this world's vampiric scientific community. She looked disappointed, but dropped it. Instead, a dead booze beast materialized in front of me. Smaller than this morning's, but still massive. You fainted from exhaustion, she explained. I brought you here and checked you over. Your body burns through energy at an insane rate because of that domineering bloodline. It gives you incredible physical power, but demands constant fuel. You eat way more than other hatchlings, and after heavy activity, you need food immediately or you'll pass out. Tell Wintersea about this. That actually explained a lot. The bottomless appetite. The constant tiredness after training. My body is basically a sports car that runs out of gas every 10 minutes. Can you cook it? I asked, looking at the dead beast. You sure? Cooked food tastes bad. I like cooked food, she shrugged. Well, Ghost shrugged and lifted the beast with blue-green energy. Then she did something that made me reconsider this entire creepy lab situation. She pulled out a crystal container, skinned the beast, removed the organs, cleaned the meat, and placed it in the container for cooking. Professional. Methodical. Like a chef, not a mad scientist. The waste went into a hole in the corner of the table. Flash of light. Gone. Interdimensional garbage disposal. This world has everything except normal parents. My name is Borko, she said while working. You can call me that, or teacher. Once your magic studies progress, I'll be teaching you potion making. She glanced back at me. And I'm not a ghost dragon. I'm a wind elemental dragon. I'm just transparent. Oh, not a ghost. Just a see-through dragon made of wind. Perfectly alive. Perfectly friendly. Runs the school's science lab, which yes looks like a horror movie set, but apparently it's just dragon pharmacy class. I fainted over a wind dragon. Sitting there in the creepiest room I'd ever seen, watching a transparent dragon cook me dinner next to shelves of preserved eyeballs, I had a moment of clarity. This world is never going to make sense, and I should probably stop expecting it to. At least the food smelled good. Borko dropped some knowledge bombs between cooking me dinner. Apparently ghost dragons are real. They have actual bodies and everything. But Borko isn't one. He's a wind elemental dragon. Elemental dragons can turn transparent at will. It's like a party trick, except the party is traumatizing baby dragons at midnight. He told me tomorrow would probably be a rest day, and I should ask Wintersea to take me to the library on the 8th floor. Then he hit me with the lecture I didn't want to hear. Sleep is critical. If I eat well and sleep well for the next 2 years, my body will grow from 1 meter to 5 meters. That's the fast growth window. Miss it? Stay small forever. Like a dragon who hit, skip, on puberty. 5 meters would put me closer in size to the older students, which matters because right now, any of them could accidentally step on me. We can't roam the academy freely until we're big enough to not be a squish hazard. 2 years sounds like forever. I said that out loud. Orko laughed. 2 years? That's nothing. I haven't slept properly in ages. When Kellen gets back, I'm napping for a few decades. Kellen is apparently another potions teacher who left to gather ingredients and won't be back for several decades. Just casually gone for a generation. Dragons have a very different relationship with time. Then I got distracted by the glowing red lines under the cooking pot. Turns out this whole lab is covered in magic circles. The red one is a constant temperature array, basically a magical stove, essential for potion making. I pointed at the hole where Borko dumped the waste earlier. Magic circle 2? That's an annihilation array. If you step inside and accidentally channel any elements, your entire existence ends. Not even a single scale left. My blood went cold. I was standing 3 feet from a disintegration pit. Then I noticed Borko smirking. You're joking, got you. But actually, you are standing on a pulverization array right now. I've crushed countless materials with it. I bolted, scrambled to a new spot like my tail was on fire. That one's a constant temperature array too. I stood there, surrounded by magical death traps that may or may not be deadly, staring at a transparent dragon who thinks scaring newborns is comedy. After 5 minutes of carefully testing every square inch of floor, I finally found a spot with no arrays underneath. Borko watched the whole performance with squinty laughing eyes. I hate him. I also kind of like him. It's complicated. While the meat cooked, I studied Borko's body. Entirely made of blue-green wind energy, short front legs, enormous wingspan, thin whip-like tail. How does a creature made of wind eat food? You keep talking about how food tastes. Do you actually eat? He grinned. Then his entire body suddenly became solid. Real scales, real flesh, same shape, but now an actual physical dragon standing in front of me. Blue-green scales, fully corporeal. This is what elemental dragons actually look like. The transparent version is a special ability called elementalization. I just prefer floating around in wind form because it's easier. He flickered back to transparent mode. Casual, like switching between pajamas and real clothes. The meat finished cooking. Borko pulled out the sleep juice, domia flower extract, and added exactly 1 drop to my pot. Just enough to knock a baby dragon out without overdosing him. The food smelled incredible. But before I ate, I looked at the shelf behind me, the jar with the silver dragon. Then I looked at Borko. Promise me you won't steal my blood while I'm sleeping. Dead silence. I'm serious. Borko's transparent face went through several emotions. Disappointment was definitely one of them. Look, I'm sitting in a lab full of preserved eyeballs, pickled baby dragons, and magical floor traps, about to eat drugged food prepared by a dragon who can turn invisible. Any sane person, or dragon, would set boundaries. My tail has been through enough today. I woke up to my own tail slapping me in the face. Classic. Shoved it aside, opened my eyes, and realized two things. 1. I was back in the cave. 2. I was lying right next to Celine. Borko must have carried me back after I passed out from the drugged dinner. And apparently sleeping me decided to roll across the entire cave floor and cuddle up to the one dragon most likely to murder me for invading her personal space. What's Domia Flower? Who's Borko? And when did you end up next to me? Celine was staring at me with the intensity of a detective who just found the suspect at the crime scene. In her bed, drooling. I sleepwalked? Rolled? It was involuntary, and I take zero responsibility. She didn't care about that, though. She wanted to know about Borko and the flower. I glanced at the other three still snoring and lowered my voice to explain. Mistake. Celine's eyes lit up like fireworks. You snuck out last night. I lunged forward and clamped my claw over her mouth. Checked on the others, still asleep. Crisis averted. Then she bit my hand. Her teeth bounced off. She recoiled, clutching her mouth, eyes watering. My scales didn't even register the attempt. Wait, what? 2 days ago, her bites hurt. Now I felt literally nothing. I flexed my wings. Stronger too. Noticeably stronger. Whatever happened last night, the extra food, the Domia Flower knockout sleep, or both, my body had upgraded overnight like a phone installing a software update. Celine recovered from her dental humiliation and came closer, poking my scales with scientific curiosity. How are you suddenly this hard? I got stronger too, but nothing like this. Veet, you went outside. Billy's foghorn voice exploded across the cave. I turned around to find all three of them wide awake and staring at me. So much for keeping secrets. Then O spoke. Oh, the golden statue who hadn't said more than 2 words since being born. He looked at me with those sharp eyes and said, very precisely, you've grown faster than the rest of us. Your body is visibly larger than yesterday. Why? Everyone froze. O talks. O observes. O has been silently analyzing us this entire time while pretending to nap. Golden jock my tail. This dragon is a spy. Celine confirmed it immediately. He's right. You are bigger. Billy ran over and touched my wing like he was inspecting merchandise. Bro, sharing is caring. What happened out there? I told them everything. Couldn't sleep, flew to the 9th floor, met Borko, fainted from exhaustion, got fed an extra booze beast, got drugged with flower juice, slept like a rock. Nothing secret, nothing special. Just my ridiculous metabolism demanding double rations. Oh, actually apologized for prying. Sorry, I didn't mean to invade your privacy. If it's inconvenient to share, forget I asked. That caught me off guard. I'd pegged him as the cold, unapproachable type. Turns out he might just be shy, like me, just bad at talking to people. Or dragons. Whatever. The conclusion was simple. My body burns energy faster, needs more food, and grows proportionally faster when fueled. No cheat code. Just biology being extra. Billy immediately pivoted to the important question. Take me with you tonight. Can't. Borko's coming to the cave from now on to deliver my sleep juice. I'm grounded before I even had freedom. I also shared Borko's warning about the 2-year growth window. Sleep well, eat well, or stay permanently undersized compared to your generation. Billy's escape plan died instantly. He went back to his corner, lay down, and asked with complete sincerity, if I sleep more, will I grow bigger? 5 dragons stared at him. This is the creature who licked a fire bubble and tried to eat an inflatable dragon. Of course that's his takeaway. Of course not. That wasn't me. That was Wintersea, standing at the cave entrance with her warm, terrifying smile. Busted. Again. Wintersea showed up, and I braced for punishment. Instead, she apologized. To me. Said she should have noticed my body problems sooner, should have realized my spiritual energy was hyperactive when I fired off dragon breath, without even being taught how. She didn't know I'd collapsed until Borko told her this morning. I felt guilty for every single "she's secretly evil" thought I'd ever had. This dragon genuinely cares about me. She's just really, really bad at comforting people. Breakfast was an adult booze beast, 500 to 600 meters long. Wintersea just waved her claw and poof. A creature the size of a small mountain appeared in our cave. Like a magic trick, except the rabbit is the size of an aircraft carrier and it's dead. Billy immediately wanted to know how she did that. She showed us a special scale on her neck called a reverse scale. Every greater dragon grows one after the juvenile phase. Inside it is a pocket dimension for storing stuff. Basically a magical backpack built into your throat. Dragons invented inventory systems before video games even existed. Important survival tip she dropped. Innate dragon beasts, the mindless ones born from eggs, don't have reverse scales. If you meet a strange dragon outside the nest someday, check for the scale. No scale? Not a real dragon. Run. Filed that one under. Information that will save my life. Meal orders were taken. Only Celine and I wanted cooked food this time. The other three went raw. Barbarians, all of them. Wintersea casually ate the entire remainder of a 600-meter beast after we finished. Just inhaled it. Like finishing someone's leftover fries, except the fries are the size of a building. Then came the bad news. No rest day for me. Everyone else gets to sleep in and relax. I have to go to the library because I'm the only dragon without proper bloodline knowledge, and magic classes start tomorrow. I need to cram an entire species worth of basic education into one afternoon. Wintersea mentioned she personally hates the library. Looking at books makes me sleepy. Very reassuring coming from my principal and teacher. Celine volunteered to come along. Then Billy. Then Dynite and nobody wanted to be left behind. Wintersea gave them the ominous warning. This was your choice. On the way up, we passed through the academy's lower floors. The older students were as enthusiastic as ever, staring at us like we were exotic zoo animals. Without Wintersea as our bodyguard, they'd probably pick us up and squeeze us. Dragon, love, remains terrifying. The 8th floor was deserted. Dust everywhere. Nobody comes here. That should have been my first red flag. We walked through the single entrance, and my jaw hit the floor. The entire 8th floor, the entire ring of this volcanic building, is one continuous library. Stone shelves stretching in every direction, floor to ceiling, packed with books. Books made of metal. And crystal, not paper. Metal pages and metal covers. Some books are made entirely of gemstone. And every single one is sized for a dragon Wintersea's height. Each book is dozens of meters tall. Some nearly 100 meters. I could live inside a single page like it was a studio apartment. Wintersea, you're sure I can turn these pages? She laughed, pulled one off the shelf. A casual motion for her, a seismic event for us, and said, "Don't worry, I'll help." I stared at the book in her claw. It was magnificent. It was enormous. It was horrifying. Is that what I'm reading today? Of course not. Relief flooded my. It's just one of them. Silence. Complete, devastating silence. I could feel 4 pairs of eyes boring into my back. Pure, unfiltered pity radiating from every sibling. Celine, Billy, Dynite, and the dragons who volunteered to come, were now quietly realizing that this was their choice, had been a threat, not a warning. Welcome to the library, everyone, where books are taller than buildings and knowledge is measured in metric tons. Dad, you gave me memories of an entire human civilization, but couldn't include a single page about dragon magic? I'm going to need words with you when I reach those stars. Wintersea wasn't joking. She was never joking. That dragon doesn't have a joke bone in her several hundred-meter body. She started pulling books off shelves and stacking them in front of me. Each one was meters thick, made of metal, and taller than several of me stacked on top of each other. Dragon magic, thunk. Dragon language magic basics, thunk. Origins of magic, thunk. Magic for dummies, Dragon edition, thunk. Dragon encyclopedia, thunk. Dragon beast encyclopedia, thunk. Herb encyclopedia, thunk. Complete guide to potions, thunk. Some stuff about magic circles, thunk. My wildlife adventures, thunk. 10 books, 10. Each one weighing more than my entire body. She personally recommended the last one, My Wildlife Adventures, because it's the only book that doesn't put me to sleep. The principal of a school just admitted she hates reading. Incredible role model energy. She turned to my siblings. These books would help you too. Want to join? For heads it shook so fast they nearly unscrewed from their necks. They bolted into the library shelves like escaped prisoners seeing daylight. Gone. Vanished. Free. I watched them disappear with the envy of a chained man watching birds fly. Wintersea carried all 10 books to a quiet corner, and I trotted behind her like the world's most miserable puppy. Do I have to finish all of these today? Of course not. You couldn't finish one in a year. This is your reading list for the next 100 years. We'll come here every other day. 100 years of homework. My dragon life stretches ahead of me like an endless hallway of metal textbooks and suffering. She opened the first book, Origins of Magic, and I flew up to read it. The pages were centimeters thick metal plates with raised golden symbols. Ancient dragon language. Beautiful, mysterious, and apparently some of these symbols are actual magic spells. For example, Wintersea said, then spoke 2 weird syllables that sounded like someone gargling starlight. A massive fireball appeared in her claw. Just like that. 2 syllables. Instant fire. My eyes nearly popped out of my skull. I stared at my own claw. Same 2 syllables. Perfect pronunciation. Wintersea looked surprised. My accent was flawless. I felt my spiritual energy rush to my right claw. Fire elements from the air started gathering. It was working. For one beautiful, shining second, I was about to cast my first spell, then my body ate everything. Sucked the fire elements dry before they could form a ball. The remaining elements in the area fled like I'd announced free dental exams. Spell failed. Magic 0. Veet's body. Still a bottomless element-eating machine. Wintersea comforted me. Ground-walking dragons are powerful too, and most of them can't use magic either. Plus, even if my body hadn't devoured those elements, the spell would have failed anyway. Magic isn't just saying words. There's more to learn tomorrow. Then she said something that actually stuck. If your body never stops absorbing elements, that's actually good news. It means your physical potential is limitless. Huh. Silver lining inside my cursed biology. I'll take it. I started reading. The creation story was engraved on these ancient pages, the same tale Wintersea told us, but with more detail. 2 cosmic dragons fought. Their blood created the world. The creation dragon left a drop of blood before chasing the destruction dragon away. Millions of years later, that blood spawned the 8 magical elements: earth, water, fire, wind, nature, thunder, light, and darkness. And from those elements, the very first dragon was born, the mother of dragons, Chemosis. Is this real? I asked. Wintersea yawned. She was already fighting sleep. In a library. That SHE brought me to. Nobody knows. This text was found on an ancient stone wall that survived millions of years without breaking. Some dragons think that makes it credible. My opinion? No idea. Helpful. Really helpful. The origin story of my entire species, and the best review is, maybe, who knows, I'm sleepy. 100 years of this. Every other day. Metal books the size of houses. A teacher who falls asleep mid-lesson. And a body that eats every spell I try to cast. But somewhere on those ancient metal pages, there might be an answer. To my body, my parents, the stars, everything. So I kept reading. Page by enormous, heavy, ridiculous page. Wintersea and I went down a rabbit hole about the origin of dragons. Turns out nobody actually knows where dragons came from. There are like 5 competing theories, and each one sounds equally made up. Theory 1. Dragon Mother Chemosis was the first dragon ever born, and she gave birth to all dragon species. Theory 2. The creation dragon's blood split into 8 dragon eggs that hatched into 8 elemental dragon gods, who then built the dragon race from scratch like a team project. Theory 3. Evolution. Theory 4. And this one made my heart skip. Visitors from beyond the stars. Star visitors. My dad literally told me we came from the stars. But Wintersea reminded me that bloodline inheritance is written by parents, and parents can write whatever they want, including fiction, including lies about being cosmic space dragons. I asked if time travel could solve the mystery. She told me about a time dragon who once existed. He thought he could control time. Time disagreed. He got destroyed and vanished. Nobody knows if he's in the past, the future, or just dead in a ditch somewhere. Don't rush, Veet. Do the right things at the right time and your problems shrink. That actually helped. For about 3 seconds. Then she reminded me I still had 10 metal textbooks to get through. The actual content of origins of magic was fascinating, though. Magic isn't just saying words and waving claws. There's something called magic power nodes that you have to build inside your dragon crystal. Without nodes, even if elements gather around you, they just scatter. It's like trying to hold water without a cup. I also learned the power ranking system: black iron, bronze, silver, gold, platinum, amethyst, legendary, mythical, godlike. 9 levels, each split into lower, middle, and upper tiers. Newborn dragons start at black iron middle. Eating your eggshell bumps you to upper. After 2 years, automatic bronze promotion. Here's the wild part. Greater dragons are so biologically overpowered that even the laziest, most talentless dragon who does nothing his entire life will naturally reach legendary rank just by aging. Juvenile phase, automatic silver. Young adult, platinum. Middle age, amethyst. Old age, legendary. And old age, for dragons, isn't weakness. It's their strongest period. Total natural lifespan, 24,000 years. If you break through to mythical or godlike, you live even longer. Dragons past 24,000 are called ancient ones, 24,000 years of life just by existing. Meanwhile, humans in Dad's world panic about turning 40. Wintersea fell asleep while I was reading. In the library that she brought me to. I had to wake her up because I physically cannot turn pages made of metal that weigh more than me. My siblings came back from exploring, tried reading for approximately 90 seconds each, then fell asleep next to Wintersea. Only Celine lasted a bit longer before she too surrendered. Books 5. Baby Dragons, 0. When we got home, Wintersea delivered a gift from Borco, the Domia flower juice, now in a jar with a magical teleportation circle on the lid. Stand on the jar, the circle activates, and a perfect dose appears in a little groove on top. He built me a self-serve sleep juice dispenser. That transparent mad scientist is growing on me. She also brought dinner, a slab of cooked meat the size of a small beast. Can't keep hunting baby booze beasts, she explained. Too many dead juveniles would wreck the local population. Sustainable dragon dining. Environmentally conscious apex predators. See you tomorrow, she left. I ate. I drank my sleep juice. And somewhere between the last bite and the first wave of drowsiness, a thought crystallized. 24,000 years is a lot of time. Maybe Wintersea is right. Maybe I don't need to sprint toward the stars on day 3. But I'm still going. Just. Maybe at a reasonable jog. Wintersea brought us to the 4th floor. A big cave with a bunch of dragon beast target dummies lined up in the middle. Our official classroom for magic training. She got all misty-eyed staring at the targets, probably remembering her own school days 8,000 years ago. Nostalgic grandma energy. While she was zoning out on memory lane, we did what any unsupervised baby dragons would do. We attacked the furniture. I scratched a target with my claws. Left some white marks. Satisfying. O walked up to the same target, gave it one casual swipe, and carved deep gouges into it like butter. Then he looked at me and raised his chin. Subtle, oh. Real subtle. Billy tried to eat one. Wintersea snapped back to reality, and the scolding began. Billy, what did I say about putting things in your mouth? Oh, these targets are for magic practice, not claw sharpening. They're designed to withstand spells, but your claws go through them like mud. Nothing to be proud of. And Veet, actually, you didn't break anything, so I'll let you off. But remember, don't scratch everything you see. O's head dropped so low it nearly touched the floor. I've never seen a golden dragon look so thoroughly embarrassed. Celine watched the whole scene with the smuggest expression possible, radiating. I'm the well-behaved one, superiority. Dynite just sat by a target, smiling peacefully at the chaos. She's always like that, quiet, observing, silently judging. Then the actual lesson started. Wintersea asked if we remembered how we used dragon breath. Celine jumped in before anyone could breathe. Guide the magic elements from the dragon crystal into the elemental lungs using spiritual power. Gold star for the teacher's pet. Good. But do you know why that works? 5 blank stares. This is where my library cramming session actually paid off. Wintersea explained the fundamentals of magic. You use your internal elements to build element nodes, connect the nodes with spiritual power to create element circuits, which then attract free-floating elements from the environment. That's how spells work. So, she circled back, Why does putting elements into the elemental lungs trigger dragon breath? My brain lit up. Because there are already pre-built element nodes inside the elemental lungs. Wintersea smiled. Close. The elemental lungs do contain breath nodes, but they're naturally formed and dormant. The elements stored there are inert, sleeping. When you send your elements in, you're not building nodes. You're waking up the ones already there. Once activated, those nodes automatically construct the breath spell and pull in surrounding elements to fuel it. She paused for dramatic effect. This magic exists only in greater dragons. It's called origin magic. Origin magic. Built into our bodies before we're even born. A spell so fundamental it's literally part of our biology. Even I, the dragon whose body eats magic for breakfast, can use it because the nodes are already inside me. No external elements needed for the activation part. I also picked up some background info during Wintersea's nostalgic rambling. Apparently, the Dragon Academy is exclusively for juveniles. After about 20 years, when magic basics are solid, her job is done and she waits for the next batch. Dragon birth rates are terrible. One adult female produces 3 eggs maximum, sometimes 0. Most parents just dump their eggs near a dragon nest and bounce. Deadbeat dragon dads are apparently a species-wide tradition, not just MY family specialty. The nest has search teams that go into the wilderness to rescue abandoned eggs and the occasional lost hatchling. Most don't survive out there. Decidro currently has 103 juvenile dragons, which Wintersea considers a miracle. Entire dragon nests have gone extinct not from war, but from simply running out of babies. Depressing stuff. But it does explain why Wintersea looks at every single one of us like we're made of diamonds. We kind of are, statistically speaking. Each hatched dragon is a minor miracle. Now, if only this minor miracle could cast a single spell without his body eating it first. Baby steps. Or baby flaps. Whatever works. Wintersea dropped another truth bomb on me. Flight is also an origin magic. Every dragon flies using ambient magical elements, not wing power, which means every dragon in existence flies on magic autopilot. Except me, because my body hoovers up every element within a 10-foot radius like a magical vacuum cleaner. I'm the only dragon in history who flies by actually flapping. Like a bird. A very large, very embarrassed, silver bird. Wintersea immediately hit me with her signature comfort combo. Don't worry, Veet, everything will get better. She's been saying this so often it should be printed on merchandise. Motivational dragon posters. Hang in there, Wintersea. Then she taught us about origin magic in general. Every species has one. It's an instinctive, unteachable spell hardwired into your biology. Ball dragons have their inflation trick. Greater dragons have breath and flight. Even the weakest dragon beast has some version. Key rule: origin magic can never be learned by another species. You're born with it, or you're not. So dragon breath is exclusive to greater dragons and innate dragon beasts born from greater dragon eggs. That one shocked everyone. Mindless beasts using the same breath weapon as us? Nature is unfair and has no taste. But dragon beasts can only use origin magic. Real magic, dragon language magic, requires intelligence. No brain, no spells. Simple. Then Wintersea got into the really juicy stuff. Dragon blood concentration. Nobody knows what dragon blood concentration actually is or where it lives in the body. It's not element affinity, it's not physical strength, but it's connected to both. It's basically a hidden stat that nobody can see or measure directly, but it changes everything. Wintersea ranked our element affinities from highest to lowest. Selene first, O second, Dynite third, Billy fourth, me dead last. Logically, our breath power should follow the same order. But it doesn't. Because I, the element dead last dragon, have the strongest breath. And the reason is blood concentration. My blood concentration is over 90%. Everyone else is around 80. The average greater dragon is in the 70s. Even Wintersea, 8,000-year-old legendary peak dragon, is below 80. I'm apparently closer to the creation dragon than my own teacher. Some scholars think variant dragons like me and Selene are actually blood reversions, throwbacks to either the creation dragon or the dragon mother. Nobody knows which. But that insane blood concentration is what makes my breath hit like a freight train despite having the worst element stats in the room. I looked bitter about his ranking. Wintersea told him not to stress. 80 is already above average. Billy was caught chewing on a target dummy again mid-lecture. Wintersea called him out without breaking stride. That dragon has the attention span of a goldfish with amnesia. Then came the moment that changed everything. Wintersea looked directly at me and said, "Veet, you will use magic someday." My heart stopped. At the legendary rank, magic isn't about elements anymore. It's about rules, a higher level of power. Elements won't limit you there. And when you reach that level, with blood concentration above 90%, your magic will be stronger than anyone at the same rank. Just like your breath, legendary. That's the goal. That's the finish line. Not elemental magic, something beyond elements. Rules, laws, the fundamental forces of reality itself. I don't need to fix my body. I need to outgrow it. Push past the level where elements matter, and suddenly my biggest weakness becomes irrelevant while my biggest strength, that absurd blood concentration, turns me into something terrifying. Wintersea looked relieved after telling me this, like she'd been holding onto a secret weapon and finally got to deploy it. Orko apparently reminded her about this. She'd spent so long at Legendary that she'd forgotten what makes Legendary different from lower ranks. And there was something else in her eyes when she looked at me, a gleam that said she was thinking about more than just magic. Physical strength can reach Legendary too. And with blood concentration like mine. I don't know what that means yet. But the way she looked at me made the stars feel just a little bit closer. 24,000 years of lifespan. A body that eats magic for fuel. Blood purer than dragons 10 times my age. Dad, you absolute madman. You didn't leave me broken. You left me a time bomb. I just need to grow up. Wintersea calmed my excitement down with a gentle reality check. Yes, I'll use magic someday. No, someday is not today. Sit down, shut up, and learn. Fair enough. I lay down and gave her my best attentive student face. My siblings suddenly got competitive too. If the magicless dragon might eventually cast powerful spells, they'd better make sure their magic doesn't fall behind. Dragon pride is a beautiful motivator. The lesson continued. 3 things affect magic power: blood concentration, my secret weapon, raw power level, how much element you've stored up, and spell mastery, how well you build your element nodes. The first 2 are long-term investments. The third, that's what we're learning now. Building element nodes works like this. And Wintersea gave the most poetic explanation I've ever heard from a face that terrifying. Imagine the air is a sheet of paper. Ancient dragon language writes invisible words on that paper. Your spiritual power is the pen. Your magical energy is the ink. At every turning point in the spoken words, you need to place a dot of ink, an element node, in exactly the right spot. Complete all the dots, and they automatically attract free-floating elements, forming the full spell. Paper, pen, ink, dots. Connect the dots and magic happens. Dragon spellcasting is basically arts and crafts for apex predators. Then came assignments. Celine gets light arrow, O gets fireball, or earth spike, dealer's choice. Billy gets fireball because his crystal element apparently defaults to fire. Dynite gets vine, since her nature affinity leans toward life energy. Then Wintersea paused at me. Here it comes. Sorry V, just watch, speech. It's okay, Wintersea. I'll just observe from here. Nice try? You're not getting out of practice. Excuse me? Turns out I can practice magic. Not cast it, practice it. Remember the 3 components? Spiritual power, internal magic energy, and external free elements. My body only eats the third one. The first 2 work perfectly fine. Building element nodes uses components 1 and 2. The external elements only matter for the final step, actual spell release. Everything before that, totally doable for me. My brain exploded with possibilities. I can build the entire spell framework. I just can't fire it. It's like loading a gun, but not pulling the trigger. The gun still works. The mechanics still apply. I just can't shoot. But then a thought hit me. How do I know if my nodes are correct? Success and failure both look the same. Nothing happens either way. Wintersea grinned like she'd been waiting for that question. You can't cast magic, but you can disrupt mine. The plan, I build a fireball node structure. Then Wintersea casts her fireball nearby. Using my spiritual power, I try to interfere with her nodes by matching mine against hers. If her spell wobbles or fails, my nodes are correct, they're disrupting hers. If her fireball fires normally, my nodes are wrong and I need to try again. I'm not learning to cast magic. I'm learning to break magic. While everyone else practices shooting fireballs at target dummies, I'll be practicing dismantling spells from the inside. Like a hacker who can't code his own programs, but can crash everyone else's. Want to give it a try? Wintersea asked, her nightmare smile wider than ever. Every scale on my body tingled. My tail actually stopped fidgeting for once. They gave me a weapon after all. Not a sword. A lockpick. Not attack magic. Anti-magic. The dragon who can't cast a single spell might become the dragon who makes sure nobody else can either. Dad, you genius disaster of a parent. Even your mistakes are turning into superpowers. Let's break some fireballs. We spent the entire day practicing magic. From morning to evening, with 15-minute breaks every hour. And thank the creation dragon, this world uses basically the same time system as Dad's memory world, because learning a new clock on top of everything else might have actually killed me. Here's how my training works. Wintersea casts fireball in slow motion, and I try to use my spiritual power to mess up her element nodes before the spell completes. Imagine someone building a house of cards, and I'm the guy trying to flick individual cards out before the structure finishes. By the end of the day, I'd successfully disrupted her spell twice. 2 out of 4 nodes identified. Wintersea was genuinely impressed. She expected me to need 3 full lessons before getting even 1 disruption. Meanwhile, my 4 siblings spent the entire day trying to cast their own spells and got a grand total of 0 successful casts between them. Dragon Breath on day 1. Easy. Actual magic? Humbling. Even Billy stopped trying to eat the target dummies. That's how seriously everyone was taking this. Then Wintersea blew my mind open. She pointed out something I'd completely missed. When I disrupt her spellcasting, I'm not using any elements. Just spiritual power. Pure mental force. Which means if I master this technique, I could theoretically shut down any element type, not just fire. Every spell in existence becomes breakable. I nearly lost my mind with excitement. But can't every dragon do this? She nodded, then asked Celine. If O starts casting a spell at you in a fight, would you try to disrupt his magic or just cast something stronger? Obviously cast something stronger. Exactly. Wintersea turned back to me. Nobody bothers learning spell disruption because why waste time breaking someone's magic when you could just overwhelm them with better magic? It's like learning to pick a lock when you could just kick the door down. She called it spiritual magic, a technique she invented years ago as a personal experiment. Her colleagues treated it as a joke. Nobody ever needed it. Until a weird little silver dragon showed up who can't cast spells, but has plenty of free time to learn something everyone else considers pointless. I'm basically studying the martial art that nobody respects because everyone has guns. But what happens when you meet the one guy who can disarm every gun in the room? There are limitations, though. If the caster's spiritual power is way stronger than mine, my disruption bounces off like a mosquito hitting a truck. She demonstrated this by casting Fireball at full power while I targeted the first node. Nothing happened. Her spiritual power steamrolled mine without even noticing. Also, complex spells have way more nodes. Disrupting 1 node out of 30 barely tickles the spell. I'd need to hit at least a third of them simultaneously to make a difference. So the formula is clear. Get stronger spiritual power, learn every spell's node pattern by ear, and disrupt multiple nodes at once. Simple. Totally simple. Only requires mastering something no dragon in history has ever seriously attempted. No pressure. Wintersea herded us back to the cave for bedtime. My siblings wanted to keep practicing. 0 successful casts all day had their pride screaming, but Wintersea shut that down immediately. I'll be sleeping here tonight. With you. For dragons who'd been secretly planning midnight practice sessions instantly deflated like ball dragons in reverse. You could practically hear their ambition hissing out of them. I curled up in my corner, took my Domia flower dose, and let sleep pull me under. Today I learned that my greatest weakness might become my most unique weapon. Every dragon in this world learns to swing a bigger sword. I'm learning to make swords disappear. Weird little magicless dragon, signing off. Wintersea actually slept in our cave. Like, full-sized, building-sized dragon curled up on the floor with 5 baby dragons. Imagine sharing a bedroom with a parked aircraft carrier that snores. Next morning, she asked who wanted to come to the library. The silence was deafening. Yesterday's 0 success magic practice had my siblings hungry to keep trying. Not a single claw went up. Wintersea didn't even blink. She knew the addiction of, I almost got it, would keep them practicing all day without supervision. She dropped a few warnings, then carried me to the 8th floor alone. My book was still open to exactly where I'd left it. The other 9 metal textbooks still looming in their tower of academic doom. I hopped onto the page and immediately zoned out. Couldn't focus. All I could think about was Celine and the others practicing magic right now, getting better, while I sit here reading about magic I can't use. Like watching cooking shows while starving. Thinking about how they get to practice all day while you're stuck with books? Wintersea reads minds. I'm convinced of it. I nodded sheepishly. She laughed, actually laughed, and told me not to worry. My spiritual magic training follows a completely different timeline. And even my siblings won't progress as fast as they think. First successful spell? Probably 5 days of hard practice. And even then, casting a spell once doesn't mean you've learned it. That's just the starting line. Then she surprised me. No more origins of magic. Today, I'd read enough for current purposes. Instead, she pulled out a different book from the stack. Dragon Encyclopedia. Turns out Borko ratted me out about the ghost dragon incident. Wintersea decided I clearly need some basic zoology before I faint at every unfamiliar species I encounter. Fair criticism. She told me we'd alternate between magic theory and fun books to keep me from going insane. Dragon Encyclopedia, Dragon Beast Encyclopedia, and My Wildlife Adventures are the entertainment rotation. Plus, they contain knowledge I actually need, like how to properly interact with my roommates. The Dragon Encyclopedia's table of contents alone was overwhelming. 567 known dragon species, and the number keeps growing. The entire dragon race splits into 3 main types: greater dragons, longest lifespan, strongest magic, highest blood concentration, biggest average size, most species variety, smallest population. We're basically the limited edition luxury model of dragonkind. Ground-walking dragons, can't fly, weakest magic, strongest physical bodies. And their Titan dragon subspecies is the largest dragon of any type. Imagine a creature so massive it doesn't need magic because it is the disaster. Flying dragons, smallest bodies, shortest lifespans, most agile flyers, most creative magic users, lowest blood concentration, but the highest population. Quantity over quality, apparently. Can I find all 3 types in our nest? Nope. Decidro is greater dragons only. Exclusive club. If I want to see the full dragon variety pack, I need to leave the nest or attend something called the 10,000 Dragon Feast. A massive celebration held once every 4,000 years on the creation plains. My eyes went wide. When was the last one? 200 years ago. I counted on my claws. 3,800 years until the next one. My face fell so hard it practically hit the book. But Wintersea flipped the perspective on me. In 3,800 years, you'll be grown up enough to actually go. If it was happening next week, you'd be stuck in the nest watching everyone else leave. Oh, that actually makes me feel better. Being a baby dragon means everything cool is too far away, but also means everything cool will happen when I'm finally big enough to enjoy it. The math works out if you stop thinking in human years and start thinking in dragon millennia. 3,800 years. That's nothing. I'll probably still be arguing with Celine about who's stronger by then. Wintersea turned the page and got down to business, greater dragon specifics. The stuff I actually need to know for daily survival among my own kind. Because apparently, understanding your roommate's species traits is the difference between getting along and getting your tail bitten off. At least this book has pictures. Metal pictures etched into metal pages, but still, better than pure text. Library Day 2. Slightly less miserable than Library Day 1. Progress. Wintersea walked me through the Dragon Encyclopedia, and I basically got a crash course on everyone I live with. Greater dragons split into 5 categories: metallic, chromatic, crystal, elemental, and miscellaneous, which is the polite way of saying, we don't know what you are, go sit in the weird kids' corner. That's my category, by the way. Officially a miscellaneous dragon. Very prestigious. We started with metallic dragons, 5 types, including gold and silver. Wintersea said I should focus on those 2 since O is a gold dragon and my mom was probably silver. I'm more interested in silver dragons. Gold is just bonus information. Wintersea saw right through me. You don't like O? It's not that. He just never talks. So why would I go out of my way to talk to him? She hit me with some unexpected wisdom. Gold dragons are the proudest of all greater dragons, which is saying something because greater dragons are already the proudest creatures alive. But pride doesn't mean they don't want friends. They're just terrible at making the first move. The last time we were here, Billy grabbed O and dragged him along with the group. You didn't notice because you were buried in books. That stung a little. While I was reading alone, my siblings were bonding. O wanted to join them, but couldn't swallow his pride. Billy, chaotic, mouth everything, zero attention span Billy, was the one who reached out. Did I do something wrong? I asked. No, you just don't know each other yet. You have plenty of time. Fair point. Moving on before I start feeling things. The gold dragon illustration looked like O but bigger and meaner. Wintersea said O would probably grow up even more handsome than the picture because the one in the book looks a bit chunky. Savage art criticism from a dragon principal. Fun fact from the gold dragon section. They love sunbathing. It's basically their favorite hobby. And apparently white dragons should never approach a gold dragon during sunbathing hours. They will get beaten up. No explanation given. Just accepted dragon law. Then I saw the silver dragon page. The illustration looked like a grown-up version of me. Same build, same scales, but fiercer and more intimidating. Less, cute baby, and more, I will end you. Something to look forward to. But here's the thing. The silver dragon in the picture had plain silver-white scales. My mother, in my memory, her scales had a rainbow shimmer underneath the silver. Subtle, but definitely different. My mom might not be a normal silver dragon either. She might be another variant dragon, which would mean both my parents were anomalies. I'm the child of two creatures that shouldn't exist. I kept that discovery to myself. My species is already officially star dragon. Whatever mom is doesn't change that. Chromatic dragons came next, the 5-color crew. Black, blue, green, red, and white. Wintersea is a red dragon, which she's clearly proud of, though the book's illustration didn't do her justice. He's not as muscular as me, she said about the picture. True. Then I read the universal chromatic dragon trait, bad temper. All of you have. Anger issues. Her smile got very stiff. It varies by individual. I don't think my temper is bad at all. She immediately picked me up by the tail and started flipping pages really fast, skipping right past the green dragon section. Suspicious. Very suspicious. Hey, I didn't read about green dragons yet. The book describes green dragons as cunning and poison-obsessed. Does Dynite seem like that to you? No? She's the sweetest dragon in our group. But Wintersea's urgency to skip that section tells me the book probably said some unflattering things about chromatic dragon personalities that she didn't want me reading too closely. Noted. Crystal dragons were next, Billy's people. The book's illustration had way brighter crystals than Billy's. Apparently their body crystals store elements, and the more elements stored, the brighter they glow. Billy's are dim because he's a newborn with empty batteries. But once charged up, crystal dragons have the best sustained combat ability of any type. They're basically walking rechargeable weapons platforms. Also confirmed, crystal dragons are obsessed with shiny things. Billy's fixation on the cave's glowing stones on day one. Genetic. It's literally in his DNA. I can't even be mad about it anymore. Finally, the miscellaneous dragons section. My section. The everything else bin. Wintersea said this is actually the category growing fastest and the one I need to understand most. Because somewhere in those pages is the answer to what I actually am. Or at least, the proof that nobody has any idea. Star Dragon, Party of One. Still taking reservations. I spent the entire morning staring at pictures of holy dragons and frost dragons, trying to spot the difference. One has milky white scales with gold patterns on the horns. The other has white scales with pale gold patterns. That's the difference. That's it. One shade of white versus another shade of white, and gold versus slightly less gold. I failed 5 times in a row. Wintersea made me look again each time. By attempt 5, my brain had completely given up. They looked identical to me. 2 white dragons with goldish horns staring at me from a metal page, daring me to tell them apart. Wintersea, I need a break. They're literally the same dragon to me now. She got quiet. That specific Wintersea quiet, that means something is wrong, and she's figuring out how to handle it without causing a panic. Then she said the 4 words no baby dragon wants to hear. We need to see Borko. Back to the eyeball laboratory. Wonderful. Borko greeted me like an old friend. How's the sleeping? Fine. Out like a light every night. My tired voice made him panic. Is he infected with the plague? Wintersea quickly shut that down and explained the situation. I can't tell similar-looking dragons apart. Something clicked behind Borko's transparent eyes, and he disappeared into the back of his lab, returning with a stack of metal plates. Look at this one, Veet. I looked. It was clearly a portrait. Silver scales, my exact build, my exact features. That's me, right? Is this going into the Dragon Encyclopedia? Borko and Wintersea exchanged a look. The kind of look adults exchange over a child's head when the news isn't great. Try this one. Green scales. Familiar shape. Cute build. That's Dynite. More silence. More looks. Wintersea sighed. Good news and bad news, Veet. Which first? My tail went limp. Those weren't me and Dynite. She shook her head. They were just random silver and green dragons. Strangers. Nobody I've ever met. My brain buffered. I'd looked at two complete strangers and seen my own face and my friend's face staring back at me. With absolute confidence. Zero doubt. Is it serious? Borko jumped in before Wintersea could make it sound worse than it was. Not life-threatening. It'll cause some inconvenience, but nothing catastrophic. Wintersea was worried you'd spiral into negativity about being different again, but honestly, you can't use magic and you're doing fine. This is smaller than that. I exhaled so hard my wings fluttered. Wintersea, you nearly gave me a heart attack. I thought I was dying. She looked genuinely guilty. Sweet, terrifying woman. So what is it, Veet? You have a very rare dragon condition called face blindness. Face blindness. I know that word. From Dad's memories. Prosopagnosia. Humans have it. It's a real condition in that world. And now apparently it's a real condition in this world. Affecting me. A dragon. Because of course it is. Does it mean I can't recognize other dragons by their faces? Not exactly faces. Dragons don't really have distinct facial features the way the concept implies. You can tell different species apart just fine. Gold dragon versus green dragon? Easy. But within the same species? You can only distinguish individuals by size. Let that sink in. Right now it's fine because I only know one gold dragon, one green dragon, one crystal dragon, and one holy dragon. They're also the only hatchlings my size. No confusion possible. But in 2 years, when I'm surrounded by 100 dragons of similar sizes, every green dragon becomes Dynite. Every gold dragon becomes O. Every silver-looking dragon becomes my own reflection. I'll be living in a world of clones. It's incurable, Wintersea added softly. It will make your life complicated. Can't use magic. Can't fly properly. Can't tell dragons apart. Dad gave me memories of cars and microwaves instead of combat training. And now my eyeballs are broken. But you know what? Borko was right. I survived finding out I'm magicless. I survived being called a dragon beast. I survived learning my species was made up. This is just another line on the world's longest list of things wrong with Veet. Wintersea, I've been different since the moment I hatched. At this point, if you told me I was also allergic to air, I'd just ask Borko for a pill. She stared at me, then burst out laughing. A real, thundering, stalactite-shaking dragon laugh. Added to the pile. Face-blind star dragon, reporting for duty. If you want me to recognize you, wear a name tag. Or be a completely different color. Either works. Wintersea told me face blindness is incurable and will cause me lots of trouble. My reaction? Absolutely nothing. Zero panic. Complete calm. She looked at me like I'd just shrugged off a cancer diagnosis. You don't think this is a problem? Wintersea, I can't use magic. I can't fly properly. My dad made up my species. I eat more than 4 dragons combined. My body devours magical elements like snacks. Adding can't tell dragons apart to this list is like adding one more raindrop to a flood. It changes nothing. She turned to Borko for support. He just shrugged his transparent shoulders. Told you. Kid's tougher than you think. Being called mature and impressive by the creepy lab dragon made my tail wag involuntarily. Shut up, tail. We have a reputation to maintain. One silver lining from Wintersea. Celine is currently the only holy dragon in the entire academy. Even with my broken eyeballs, I'll always be able to pick her out. At least one roommate won't become a stranger in 2 years. Wintersea dropped me off at the cave and left to help Borko inventory the Academy's potion supply warehouse. Apparently, they need to check if there are enough ingredients for our potions class in 2 years. Borko was already complaining about his missing colleague Kellen again. That dragon has been gone for decades gathering ingredients. At this point, she's either incredibly thorough or incredibly lost. I headed into the cave expecting to find 4 diligent little dragons practicing magic. Instead, I heard growling. Flew to the back and found Celine and O going at it. Full aerial combat. Chasing, dodging, clawing. Both of them flying circles around each other like angry golden and white comets. Celine had the size advantage and was slowly pushing O into a corner. Billy and Dynite were parked on the sideline like spectators at a sports match. What happened to magic practice? I asked, landing next to them, and accidentally blasting them both with a face full of dust from my wings. Sorry about that. Billy didn't even care about the dust. Dude, remember the first day? Celine and O agreed to fight? This is that fight. He then spent 5 minutes venting about magic practice. Apparently, an entire morning of trying to cast spells produced absolutely nothing for any of them. Not a spark, not a flicker, not a single successful spell. Celine was closest. She could stir up some light elements, but still couldn't complete a cast. O got so frustrated he challenged Celine to their long-promised duel instead. Relatable, honestly. When studying doesn't work, fight someone. Classic academic stress relief. Billy shoved his face directly into mine to ask what happened at the library. Nearly got a claw to the snout for startling me. I told them about the face blindness. What's face blindness? Can you eat it? Never change, Billy. Never change. I explained. If Dynite were also a red crystal dragon, I literally could not tell them apart. Same species, same size. Completely identical to my broken brain. That's it? Billy scratched his head, producing a sound like wind chimes made of crystal. Doesn't sound that bad. Wintersea thought it was serious enough to rush me to Borko's lab. She definitely likes you more than the rest of us, Billy said casually, like he was commenting on the weather. That caught me off guard. Does she? I thought about it. The extra attention, the personal comfort talks, the library trips, rushing me to the doctor over something relatively minor. Maybe Billy has a point. She cares about all of us equally, I said, because that felt like the right thing to say. Like you, for example. Me? I channeled my best Wintersea impression. Billy, I need to warn you. Billy, you forgot what I said again. Billy, stop putting things in your mouth. His crystals practically turned pink. Okay, I know I've done some dumb stuff. They were fun at the time, though. Anyway, look, the fight's almost over. Up above, Celine spotted her opening. She grabbed O's tail mid-flight and slammed him into the ground like a golden rag doll. The impact echoed through the entire cave. Every dragon on the sidelines winced simultaneously. That definitely hurt. O's pride probably hurts more. Celine remains undefeated queen of the cave. And O just learned the hard way that challenging someone bigger, stronger, and more magically advanced is not a personality trait. It's a medical decision. O got up from his crater in the ground and stared at Celine with pure frustration. But Gold Dragon pride won't let him be a sore loser, so he just said, I'll challenge you again, and limped over to join us. His right back leg was completely numb from being slammed into the floor like a golden pancake. Celine walked over to me, and before I could even congratulate her, she asked why I was back early. I sighed and repeated the face blindness explanation for the second time today. I'm going to need a pre-recorded message at this rate. Celine's response was the most Celine thing ever. She processed the medical diagnosis for exactly 2 seconds, then slapped my wing and declared, Don't worry, I'll protect you. That's not what this is about. I can recognize you because you're the only holy dragon in the academy. I just might mix up the others. She waved her claw dismissively. V, stop explaining. Just rely on me. Then her eyes caught fire. Want to fight? My legs were already moving before my brain caught up. Yes, I want to fight. But then I noticed O standing there looking like a crumpled piece of golden foil, and my conscience kicked in. You just fought, O. Your stamina is low. Beating you now wouldn't mean anything. I could see her respect for me go up 1 notch. Dragon chivalry, acknowledged. Also, shouldn't you all be practicing magic? Every dragon in the room deflated simultaneously. Billy literally grabbed his own head and smacked it against the floor. Veet, I was trying to forget about that. Why would you bring it up? But they all went back to practicing anyway. Grumbling, groaning, zero progress, but trying. I went back to wing exercises since I can't practice spiritual magic without Wintersea. Evening came. Wintersea delivered my dinner. gave some advice, and left, confident that a day of failure would kill any midnight practice urges. She was right. Everyone was ready to collapse. I headed for my sleep juice when Billy blocked my path. Eyes twinkling, tail swishing, trouble personified. Veet. One night without sleep won't hurt our growth, right? You want to go outside? He slapped his claw over my mouth. SHHH. Just us two. Too many dragons means too much risk. I was about to say no when he played the one card he knew I couldn't resist. Don't you want to see the stars? My entire body froze. This crystal-obsessed, fire bubble-licking, target dummy-eating chaos dragon had somehow figured out the one thing that could convince me to break every rule. Star dragon, right? He grinned. Your bloodline inheritance is all about the stars. Plus you snuck out once already. Wasn't hard to figure out. Billy is smarter than he looks. Which, given how he looks most of the time, is a low bar, but still. Fine. But you follow him, why lead? No noise. And we do not stop on the 9th floor. Deal. We crept toward the exit on foot. No flying, too loud. Silent as shadows. Perfect stealth. 2 baby dragons executing a flawless midnight escape. Ahem. We turned around in ultra-slow motion. 3 pairs of glowing golden eyes stared at us from the darkness. Celine. Dynite. Oh. Wide awake. Arms crossed. Waiting. You were going without us? The betrayal in their voices could have melted steel. Billy, thinking fast for once in his life, whispered. Together, wings rustled. 3 dragons materialized in front of us. Our secret 2-dragon mission instantly became a 5-dragon field trip. This time, flying up was easy. Days of eating, sleeping, and growing had made me noticeably stronger. 3 floors? No problem. We shot through the volcano's top opening and landed on the crater rim like 5 little silver, gold, white, green, and crystal-studded dots on a mountain's edge. And there it was. The sky. The real sky. Not glimpsed through a cave opening. Not peeked at from Wintersea's claw. The full, unobstructed, infinite sky. Stars everywhere. Thousands of them. Millions. Scattered across an endless black canvas like someone had taken all the light in the universe and sprinkled it across the darkness. Nobody spoke. Not even Billy. This was my second time seeing the stars. And somehow, it was even more beautiful than the first. Somewhere up there, past all that light, past all that emptiness, my dad is waiting. I'm coming. Just give me a few thousand years. The night was perfect. Wind tickling my scales, a moon the size of a dinner plate hanging in the sky, and stars, millions of them, filling every corner of the darkness like a glowing ocean. In Dad's memory world, you can't see stars when the moon is bright. Here, both at full power, simultaneously. This world has better graphics. I lay on the crater's edge, chin up, eyes lost in the infinite. Somewhere behind me, Celine noticed I was in my zone. She quietly nudged the others and led them away to give me space. No questions, no teasing. No, why are you staring at nothing? They just, let me have my moment. Dragons respect each other's weird habits. It's honestly the best part of this species. They found their own spot nearby, chatting about the future, letting the night breeze carry away the day's frustration of 0 successful spells. Eventually, they started yawning, eyelids drooping. One by one, they were losing the battle against sleep. I'd been secretly watching them the whole time, checking in between stargazing sessions. When Celine started crying from yawning too hard, I stood up. Time to go? If we fall asleep up here, Wintersea will find us, and we're all dead. They shook their heads awake, and I did a quick head count. 1, 2, 3. Where's Billy? Every dragon snapped to full alert. Cold sweat. Panic. The one dragon in our group most likely to cause an international incident had vanished. Did anyone see him leave? 3 heads shaking in awe. We'd all assumed his unusual silence meant he was being well-behaved for once. Rookie mistake. Quiet Billy is dangerous Billy. Just as I was about to organize a search party, Celine spotted him, flying up from outside the crater rim, clutching something in his claws, waving it around like a trophy. He'd gone exploring. Alone. Outside the volcano, while the rest of us stargazed like responsible delinquents. Look what I found. He was holding a dead creature. About half a meter long, shaped like a wasp from Dad's memories, but with a dragon head full of sharp teeth. 6 legs ending in dagger-like points. And a suspicious round hole at the tail end where something, probably a stinger, used to be. Would I it? Celine asked. Billy looked at her like she was stupid. It's not a dragon, so it's obviously a dragon beast. Celine grabbed his horn and twisted. I will break this off. Billy groveled immediately. Smart survival instincts, zero smart timing instincts. Nobody knew what species it was. I'd spent the day reading the Dragon Encyclopedia, not the Dragon Beast Encyclopedia. Wrong book, wrong day. Typical. We needed to get back immediately. But Billy was clutching his dead bug dragon like a kid with a new toy. My brain kicked into cover-up mode. Bring it back. When Winter Sea comes tomorrow, we say we don't know where it came from. We woke up and it was just there. Morse beasts and ball dragons get through the barrier all the time. This thing is small enough that the story holds up. Everyone agreed. Even Celine, who usually questions everything, just nodded. My alibi game is apparently convincing. We snuck back in, collapsed in our spots, and passed out instantly. No sleep juice needed. Exhaustion did the job. Next morning, I opened my eyes. No Winter Sea. Relief. My heart rate dropped from cardiac arrest to merely terrified. Everyone woke up one by one, stretching, yawning, exchanging nervous glances. We all knew the dead bug thing was sitting in the middle of the cave like evidence at a crime scene. Then, footsteps. Heavy, ground shaking, Winter Sea-sized footsteps approaching the cave. We scrambled to our feet and stared at each other. Nobody knew what to do. Should we look casual? Act surprised? Practice looking innocent? We just stood there, frozen. 5 baby dragons caught in headlights that hadn't arrived yet. Winter Sea walked in. Oh, you're all awake. Hungry? I brought. Her eyes landed on the dead creature. Her pupils contracted. And then the most terrifying thing I've experienced since being born happened. A wave of pressure, raw, crushing, suffocating power, exploded out of her body like a shockwave. The air itself seemed to compress. The ground shook. My scales flattened against my body involuntarily. This wasn't angry teacher Winter Sea. This wasn't concerned mom Winter Sea. This was legendary peak dragon Winter Sea. And she was looking at that dead bug thing like it was the most dangerous object in the world. We are in so much trouble. Winter Sea's pressure hit us like a wall of invisible concrete. 5 baby dragons standing at attention, not daring to breathe. The word, trouble, doesn't even begin to cover what was happening inside my head. Where did you find this? She pointed at the dead bug thing. Her voice could have frozen lava. 4 pairs of eyes instantly turned to Billy. Billy mentally cursed us all for being traitors. He opened his mouth to deliver our carefully prepared alibi. The one I'd crafted last night. The brilliant, it just appeared in our cave, story. But the second he made eye contact with Winter Sea, his entire soul collapsed. He confessed. Everything. The sneaking out, the stargazing, the crater, the exploring alone, finding the dead creature. Our entire criminal operation, dismantled in 3 seconds by one angry look from a legendary dragon. My beautiful cover story died before it was born. Note to self, never trust Billy with classified information under pressure. Winter Sea didn't yell, didn't lecture. She just dropped some meat on the floor, some cooked, some raw, and said 6 words that were scarier than any punishment. Stay inside. Do not leave. Then she was gone. We stood there, too terrified to exhale. Finally, I broke the silence. We're in deep trouble, aren't we? Then a sound split the air outside. A deep, thundering dragon roar that shook the entire volcano. Then another, and another. Dozens of roars answering back, like some kind of terrifying roll call. Billy looked like he was about to cry. That's not because of US, right? Nobody answered. But we all knew. I couldn't just sit there. I flew toward the exit. Celine shouted after me, but I was already gone. Seconds later, all 4 of them were right behind me. Eating was obviously not an option when the world might be ending because of our field trip. We reached the volcano rim and my brain stopped working. The sky was full of dragons. Not student dragons. Not teenagers. Hundreds of adult dragons. Every color, every type. Minimum 500 meters each. War-age dragons. The full military force of Decidro, mobilized and airborne. And Winter Sea? She'd grown. Her body had expanded from 700 meters to over 1,000. Wings spread across the sky like a living eclipse. She was issuing commands, and a massive brass dragon named Elbert was relaying orders. Obey dragon beasts incoming. If any of you let a single one into the canyon, I will personally introduce you to hell training. The adult dragons scattered into defensive positions with the urgency of soldiers who'd rather face monsters than Albert's training program. Billy's voice came out as a whisper. Did we cause this? I honestly wasn't sure anymore. I don't think so. What are you doing up here? Get back inside. Orko materialized behind us, transparent, panicked, and very much not joking. I asked what was happening. War mobilization. I don't know the details, but a battle is coming. And during wars, baby dragons are primary targets. Get inside. Now, Billy, in peak Billy fashion, pulled out the dead bug creature. But what is this thing? Orko saw it, and his face went from concern to terrified. Without a single word, he wrapped all 5 of us in wind energy and launched us back down into our cave. No discussion, no explanation, just whoosh, and we were standing at the back of our den, dizzy and confused. Then he told us, and everything clicked into place. The dead creature is an Abai dragon beast. Half-meter to 2-meter wasp dragons that hunt in swarms, build their own nests, and have one particular dietary preference. Baby dragons. We are the high-end cuisine on their menu. Abai beasts are literally called hatchling killers. They're the only dragon beast species crazy enough to attack an entire dragon nest, because the prize inside is US. That dead scout Billy found. It was checking out the buffet, and now the rest of the swarm is coming for dinner. Every adult dragon in Decidro just went to war to protect 103 baby dragons who can't fight back. And 5 of those baby dragons are currently standing in a cave, realizing that their fun little stargazing trip accidentally revealed an enemy scout's presence, triggering the largest military response they've ever seen. Billy's souvenir just started a war. I looked at the dead bug thing on our cave floor. I looked at Billy. I looked at the ceiling, where distant roars kept shaking dust loose. Dad, if you're watching from the stars, your son is having a very eventful childhood. While we sat in our cave like grounded children, an entire war was happening above our heads. Orko stayed with us, partly to babysit, partly to study Billy's souvenir corpse. He gave us the play-by-play while examining the dead bug dragon, and honestly, I wish he hadn't. Ignorance was bliss. Winter Sea was hovering above the canyon when she spotted them coming from the ISU plains. A cloud, a massive, buzzing, sky-darkening cloud of half-meter wasp dragons, heading straight for us. Not dozens, not thousands. A medium-sized nest. 1 to 2 million individual Abai dragon beasts. 2 million murder wasps whose favorite food is baby dragon. My species of baby dragon. Up top, a brass dragon named Albert was commanding the defense like a general who'd done this before. First move, poison swamp. Green magic circles hit the ground and turn the entire border zone into a bubbling toxic wasteland. Green gas rising everywhere, slowing the swarm down. Second move, blizzard. Massive ice magic circles in the sky started dropping head-sized snowballs onto the poisoned, disoriented swarm. Bugs dropped into the acid swamp and dissolved instantly. But they kept coming. Millions of them. The poison weakened, the blizzard faded, and wave after wave punched through the defensive line. Albert called for dragon breath, and hundreds of adult dragons opened their mouths simultaneously. Every color, every element, every type of breath weapon firing at once. The sky must have looked like the world's most violent fireworks show. Then Winter Sea made her move. 1,000 meters of red dragon, hovering in the sky like a living mountain. She opened her mouth and unleashed a lava breath that swept horizontally across the entire swarm like a sword cutting through clouds. The blast was so massive it created a gap of several hundred meters in the enemy formation. In that brief window, the defense team swapped out exhausted magic circles for gravity spells and earth spikes. Bugs started falling from the sky like rain, impaled on stone pillars shooting up from below. Albert shouted at Winter Sea, "Finally, you attack. You've gotten stronger. Fight me after this." She rolled her eyes. "I have baby dragons to take care of. How many hatched this time?" 5. Albert's voice boomed across the battlefield. "You hear that? 5 new babies. Don't you dare mess this up." Every dragon on the field roared back. Their spells got stronger. The entire army of Decidro, fighting harder because 5 little idiots exist in a cave somewhere below. I felt something crack in my chest. Not pain, something warmer. Hundreds of dragons I've never met. risking their lives because babies like me are on the menu. Meanwhile, Borko was calmly dissecting our evidence in the cave like a professor during an earthquake. Abae nests come in 4 sizes. Small, 2 to 300,000. Medium, 1 to 2 million. Large, 5 to 10 million. And mega nests, above 10 million, which only form when there's enough food nearby. They grow from egg to adult in 3 days. 3 days. An entire army regenerates in less time than it takes Celine to learn one spell. The dead one Billy found was a scout. When a scout detects baby dragons, its body releases a chemical signal that travels hundreds of miles at incredible speed, summoning the entire nest. The round hole at its tail? That's where a stinger used to be, sharp enough to pierce through juvenile dragon scales like paper. Billy found a loaded gun, brought it home, and accidentally broadcast our location to 1,000,000 hungry wasps. How did this one die, though? I asked. Billy didn't kill it. Borko glanced at me. Abae beasts have a natural predator. As for what that predator is, he trailed off. Classic dramatic pause. This world loves those. Somewhere above us, the ground shook with another volley of dragon breath. Dust rained from the ceiling. My siblings huddled closer together without realizing it. 2 million bugs versus several hundred dragons. All because 5 baby dragons wanted to look at stars. Dad, when I said I wanted an eventful life, I didn't mean this eventful. Plot twist of the century. Ball dragons, those adorable inflatable idiots we've been poking for fun, are the Abae beast's natural predator. Those tiny puffball dragons that Billy tried to eat, they eat the Abae's stingers as a snack. The chemical signal that summons million bug armies? Ball dragons smell it like dinner. The dead scout Billy found? A ball dragon killed it. Our cave's resident pest control saved our lives before we even knew we were in danger. I will never poke a ball dragon again. Those little legends deserve respect. Unfortunately, ball dragon groups only have 10 to 50 members. Against a swarm of millions, that's like sending 5 firefighters to stop a volcano. Huge effort, completely insufficient. Borko kept us informed while the war raged overhead. He explained the nightmare scenario. If even one Abae beast sneaks into the canyon and becomes a new dragon mother, their queen, the entire ecosystem gets destroyed and Decidro would have to relocate. Every single bug needs to die, or the war never ends. That thought hit us hard. We've been alive less than a week and our home could be lost. This canyon, this volcano school, this cave with its glowing stones that Billy tried to steal, all of it, gone. Because bug wasps like eating babies. Because we are the babies. Borko noticed the mood dropping and reassured us. Decidro has been here for over 10,000 years. They know the surrounding area inside out. There's never been an Abae nest near the ISU plains before, so this swarm must be newcomers who haven't been here long. Probably small or medium size. Manageable. He also told us about Elbert, the brass dragon screaming orders during the battle. One of Decidro's 5 legendary peak dragons, responsible for nest defense, perimeter patrols, and finding abandoned dragon eggs in the wilderness. Some of us might have been rescued by him personally. After our juvenile phase ends, he takes over our training for the entire adolescent period. Hundreds of years under Dragon Drill Sergeant Elbert. But, Borko added, if anyone prefers research over military service, you can apply to leave the guard and go independent during the young adult phase. That's also when you can leave the nest. My eyes lit up. Outside. The world. Other creatures. Maybe humans exist somewhere out there, classified as some weird dragon beast, subspecies nobody's bothered studying. The world is enormous and I refuse to believe it contains nothing but dragons and bugs. The fighting noise gradually died down. By noon, complete silence. Good sign. Borko stayed with us the entire time, watching us train. He could have gone to help fight. I even offered. Go help. We'll behave. He shook his head. My job is protecting you. I asked about the other baby dragons in the academy. Turns out Wintersea and Borko aren't the only teachers. There are 2 more, one for alchemy and one for magic circles. And they were guarding the other students. Borko specifically chose to watch us because, and I quote, after finding you on the volcano rim, I absolutely do not trust you to stay put. Fair. Completely, devastatingly fair. We have criminal records now. Multiple offenses. The trust is gone. We trained while we waited. Celine and the others practiced magic. I did wing exercises. Borko watched silently, occasionally looking impressed, which felt like earning a gold medal from a transparent judge. Then footsteps. Heavy ones. Wintersea walked in. Every single one of us immediately started training twice as hard. Obvious. Yes. Transparent? Absolutely. Did it fool anyone? Not a chance. Wintersea smirked. Thanks, Borko. Did they cause any trouble? My ears shot straight up. She'd specifically told us to stay in the cave. We'd immediately disobeyed, run to the volcano rim, and had to be forcibly retrieved by Borko. If he told her the truth, we were finished. Borko looked at us. We looked at him. 5 pairs of desperate golden eyes beaming pure. Please. Energy at one transparent dragon. Of course not. They were very well behaved. Borko, you beautiful, transparent, eyeball collecting, potion brewing legend. His approval rating in my heart went from creepy lab guy to best dragon alive in exactly one sentence. If I could hug him without phasing through his wind element body, I would. Borko is a good dragon. The best dragon. I will never complain about his lab full of preserved eyeballs ever again. Probably. Borko left like the hero he is, and we basked in gratitude for approximately 4 seconds before noticing Wintersea's expression. That's specific. I know everything, and I'm enjoying watching you squirm. Look. She knew. Of course she knew. She's a legendary peak dragon. She probably sensed us standing on the volcano rim from a mile away, while simultaneously fighting a million bug wasps. We were about as stealthy as a fireworks display in a library. She pointed at Billy's dead souvenir. Who started it? Dead silence. I was about to step forward when Billy beat me to it. Shaking like a leaf, he stood up and took all the blame. Every bit. Said he convinced me, dragged everyone else along, found the corpse while wandering alone. Full confession. Complete self-sacrifice from the dragon who licks fire bubbles for fun. My jaw almost detached from my face. This reckless, impulsive, puts everything in his mouth maniac just threw himself on the sword for the team. We couldn't let that stand. Everyone immediately started talking over each other, confessing the full truth. It was the most chaotic, heartwarming courtroom scene in dragon history. Then Wintersea laughed. I'm not angry. You actually saved us. That dead scout tipped us off early. Without it, the swarm would have hit before we could prepare, and they don't just eat babies. They eat EGGs too. Relief flooded my body so fast I nearly collapsed. We're not criminals. We're accidental heroes. Accidental heroes. But, she added, and every spine in the room straightened, sneaking out at night is still wrong. Tomorrow, you spend the entire day in the library. As punishment, a full day? In the library. With metal books taller than buildings. My siblings looked like they'd just been sentenced to prison. I asked if there'd be a reward too, since we technically saved the nest. She said yes, but we can't claim it until after the juvenile phase. 100 years from now. An IOU from a dragon principal. The bureaucracy in this world is unreal. Half a day of magic class followed. My siblings still couldn't cast their first spell. I found my 3rd disruption node out of 4. Not because I'm more talented, just because breaking things gives clearer feedback than building them. Story of my life. That night, everyone crashed hard. Out cold. Snoring orchestra at full volume. I stood on my sleep juice jar, finger on the trigger, debating. One quick peek at the stars. Just a few minutes. Wintersea will never know. I didn't drink the juice. Flew straight up. Made it to the rim in record time. The stars were different tonight. Shifted slightly from yesterday, like someone had rearranged the jewelry display. Beautiful. Hypnotic. I forced myself to stop after a few minutes. Responsible Veet. Mature Veet. Going back to bed Veet. Then I heard something. A small sound. Scraping. Movement. Coming from the outer slope of the volcano. My blood ran cold. Not another Obey Scout. Please, universe, I am begging you. 1 near apocalypse per week is my maximum. I crept to the edge and looked down. Dragon-grade night vision kicked in, and I saw clearly. Golden scales. Metallic luster. Small body. Spiral horns. Oh, it looked exactly like O. Same size. Actually slightly smaller. Same golden sheen. Same proud walk. He was heading down the volcano slope toward the treeline. But wait. O is supposed to be asleep in the cave. Dead asleep. Snoring with everyone else asleep. Do I go back and check? Or follow? He was already at the bottom, about to disappear into the forest. No time to verify. I dove after him. Flying downhill was easy, but this volcano is enormous. By the time I reached the base, he was gone, vanished into the trees like a golden ghost. I hovered there, scanning the darkness, when, whoosh, a blast of lava breath erupted from the trees straight at me. It missed by several meters. Terrible aim. Clearly a beginner. Then a golden dragon stepped out of the shadows. Same metallic scales. Same proud posture. Same, I'm better than you, chin angle. But the eyes gave it away. Curiosity. Wariness. The look of a dragon seeing a stranger. Oh, knows me. Oh, has fought beside me. Trained with me. Eaten with me. Oh, would never look at me like that. This is a no. This is a completely different gold dragon. A gold dragon who is not from our academy. A gold dragon who is alone in the wilderness outside Decidro. A gold dragon who just tried to shoot me. My face blindness almost got me killed by a stranger I mistook for my roommate. Add that to the list of reasons this condition is going to be a problem. But more importantly, who is this dragon? And what is a lone baby gold dragon doing outside the most dangerous nest in the region the night after a war? Dad's memories have a word for this kind of situation. Cliffhanger. And I hate it. Who are you? I asked the golden stranger, wings spread, legs tensed, tail whipping hard enough to make actual wind sounds. Very intimidating. Very cool. Who are you? Why are you following me? Then I heard the voice properly, and my brain short-circuited. It was delicate, musical, like bird song. This was a girl dragon. A girl dragon who looks exactly like O. My brain could not reconcile O's face with that voice. It was like watching a bodybuilder speak in a baby voice. My insides felt deeply, profoundly confused. She told me her name. Actually, no she didn't. She just said, I'll remember you, Veet, and dove headfirst into a bush. By the time I scrambled after her, she was gone, vanished into the forest like she'd never existed. I scratched my head in confusion, and sparks flew off my scales. Right next to dry grass. Almost started a wildfire. At midnight. Outside the volcano, while already breaking every rule in existence. Adding arson to tonight's rap sheet would have been the final nail in my coffin. Then I looked up at the volcano I'd casually glided down from. The volcano that is enormous. Getting down easy, getting back up, a death sentence for my stamina. But sleeping outside was not an option. If Winter C found an empty bed tomorrow, the punishment would make the library look like a vacation. I bit down and flew. Straight up, for what felt like an eternity. I don't remember landing. Don't remember crawling back to the cave. Don't remember falling asleep. My body just gave up at some point and consciousness abandoned ship. Next morning, I opened my eyes to a giant eyeball 6 inches from my face. GAH. It's just me, Veet, Winter C. Of course. Waking me up by pressing her car-sized eyeball against my entire body. Normal morning routine in Dragon School. Did you go out again last night? Absolutely not. I accidentally drank too much domia flower juice. Slept like a rock. Didn't move an inch. Really? Because the domia flowers you drank must have been freshly picked, with leaves still attached. My siblings were trying so hard not to laugh. Their eyes were pointed at my tail. I looked back. Green leaf fragments. Stuck between my scales. Forest evidence. Physical proof of my crimes, literally attached to my butt. I can explain. In an academy with 0 plants inside. I'd love to hear this explanation. I surrendered. Told her everything. The golden dragon I chased, thinking it was O, the forest, the discovery that it was actually a girl. O got very defensive very fast. I went to sleep early. It wasn't me. Nobody accused you, O. Your honor is safe. Winter C identified the mystery dragon immediately. That's probably Isha. A gold dragon born around the same time as you. Wait. Another baby dragon our age? Outside the academy? Turns out not all baby dragons come to the school. We're the orphans. Eggs found abandoned in the wilderness, brought back by search teams. But dragons who live in the nest raise their own kids privately. Most never send their babies to the academy. The room got very quiet. Winter C basically just told us, in the gentlest possible way, that we're the unwanted ones. The abandoned eggs. The parentless kids. Every other baby dragon in Decidro has a mom and dad at home. We have a very large red dragon who doubles as a school principal. The mood crashed through the floor. 5 little dragons, 5 days old, processing the fact that somewhere out there, parents chose to walk away from them. Wintersea saw the sadness and did what she does best, distracted us with consequences. Stop making those faces. You've got me, don't you? Now eat breakfast, because today's punishment is not getting canceled just because you look sad. And Veet, yours is doubled for sneaking out again. Can you at least tell us what the punishment is? Copying books. The Dragon Beast Encyclopedia. By hand. On metal. Pause. Veet, you're copying it twice. Twice. I have to hand copy a metal encyclopedia about dragon bugs. Twice. Each page weighs more than I do. This is what I get for chasing a girl through the forest at midnight. Dad, if star dragons are truly born free, then why am I spending my freedom copying homework? Let me tell you about the worst punishment in dragon history. Copying the Dragon Beast Encyclopedia by hand. Onto metal pages. Using my claws. Not a pen. Not a chisel. My bare, actual, attached to my body claws, scratching letters into sheets of metal harder than my patience. And I had to do it twice because of the whole sneaking out to chase a girl dragon through the forest incident. Day one left all 5 of us clutching our swollen, throbbing claws, whimpering in our sleep. My hands were still trembling in my dreams. This wasn't homework. This was medieval torture disguised as education. But here's the sneaky part. Every morning, our claws healed sharper than before. Break them down, sleep, wake up upgraded. Wintersea had turned punishment into secret training. When we asked if she'd planned it, she just smiled. That terrifying, all-knowing, I am 8,000 years old smile. We stopped complaining. For exactly one day. Then the second copying session happened, and we complained twice as hard. Life settled into a rhythm after that. Eat, practice magic, sleep, eat, copy books. My schedule had one bonus feature, second dinner. Being a walking furnace with infinite appetite has its perks and its burdens. Milestones came and went. Celine cast her first light arrow on our 4th magic class. O immediately matched her with Fireball because his pride physically wouldn't allow him to fall behind. Dynite and Billy followed next session. I'd already mapped all 4 Fireball nodes ages ago through my disruption training, so technically I was first, if you count breaking magic as doing magic, which I absolutely do. Wintersea officially declared our magical education had begun. Exciting announcement. Nothing changed. Same routine. Same metal books. Same claws. Gradually, something shifted. We slept longer, ate more, practiced less. Our bodies were demanding increasing amounts of rest and fuel. Wintersea wasn't worried. Apparently, this is normal for growing dragons. Even the book copying punishment got quietly forgotten by everyone, including Wintersea herself. That encyclopedia sits somewhere half-finished, a monument to abandoned discipline. Then one day, about a year after being born, I felt heavy, warm, like my entire body was wrapping itself in something. My vision went dark. Not scary dark, cozy dark, like sinking into the world's most comfortable blanket made of pure energy. I fell asleep, and I didn't wake up for an entire year. Apparently, all 5 of us transformed into glowing elemental cocoons. Just wrapped ourselves in light and shut down for 12 months. Wintersea walked in, saw 5 luminous eggs where 5 baby dragons used to be, and simply smiled. She knew this was coming. Left us alone. Checked on us occasionally, I assume, unless she also took a year-long nap, which honestly wouldn't surprise me. Inside my cocoon, I felt nothing. No dreams, no awareness, no time passing. Just growing, like the world's longest, most productive nap. Then, crack. Celine woke up first, because of course she did. Burst out of her cocoon, stretched her wings, looked around in confusion. Then she noticed her body. 5 meters long. Head to tail, 5 entire meters. Her scales were thicker, her claws sharper. Sharp enough to scratch the magically protected academy floor, which was previously indestructible to baby claws. She'd gone from house cat to tiger in one sleep. Wintersea walked in with food. Celine attacked it like she hadn't eaten in a year, because she literally hadn't. An entire year of fasting, paid in full with one meal that could feed a village. Is my size normal? Celine asked between desperate mouthfuls. Normal. Actually bigger than average for your age, Celine relaxed. Relief washed over her. She was normal. Even above average. Everything was fine. The system works. Growth is on track. Then another cocoon cracked open behind her. She turned around, and her face broke. Because stepping out of that second cocoon, stretching silver wings that seemed to go on forever, was me. And I was, well, let's just say Celine's, bigger than average, suddenly didn't feel so impressive anymore. Her eyes snapped to winter sea, filled with pure, undiluted betrayal. The look of a dragon who was told she was special and then immediately shown someone more special. You said I was normal. What can I say? My body eats magic for fuel, demands triple rations, and apparently converts a year of sleep into maximum growth. Whatever size Celine is, I am apparently significantly, visibly, embarrassingly more. 2 years old. 5+ meters of pure, magicless, overfed, face-blind star dragon. Dad would be proud. Assuming he can even recognize me anymore. I barely recognize myself.